Welcome to HOJO Radio. Our next popular broadcast aired from January 7th, 1941 to October 5th, 1952. It was created by producer Hyman Brown and based on the imprint given to the mystery novels of Simon & Schuster. In all, 526 episodes were broadcast. We proudly present to you Inner Sanctum.
Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup present Inner Sanctum Mystery. Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum. This is your host to welcome you in through the squeaking door to another half hour of horror. Come in, won't you? Sit down. I hope you'll forgive me if I don't get up, but I'm terribly tired. I spent last night with a friend who's a book collector, specializes in bestsellers. He certainly showed me some interesting ones. In fact, he tried to bury me in one. Because all the very best sellers have corpses in them.
Why, that's downright silly. Most sellers do not have bodies in them.
But of course they have, Mary. You know the old saying, even the walls have ears.
You certainly don't make a house sound homey at all. Why don't you talk about the kitchen with its good, warm smells of homemade food? Yes, and while you're at it, you should mention Lipton tea, because Lipton's makes good food taste better.
If you're willing to gamble with your peace of mind, put out the lights and listen to Death by Scripture. It's an original radio play by that old gravedigger, Robert Newman. Yes, and our star tonight is Stefan Schnabel, who plays the role of Stefan. The place is China, somewhere near the outskirts of Shanghai. A man-made wasteland ravaged and devastated by war. Driving through an abandoned village on his way to a camp for displaced persons is Major Roger Mason. Suddenly, the glare of his headlights picks out a strange, wild-eyed figure who stares, then scuttles into the shelter of an alley. Mason hesitates for only a moment, then stops his jeep. Hello there. Come back here for a minute, will you? Hello. Okay, if you want to make a game out of it. There's this alley somewhere. Oh, there you are.
Please, master, please. I mean no harm.
Easy. Now, no one's going to hurt you. Certainly not me. I'm an American on my way to Camp 14.
Camp 14?
The camp for refugees, displaced persons.
I know. I was there.
I thought so. How was it they let you leave?
They did not let me. I ran away.
Oh? Why?
Because to stay would have meant death.
To me, it would be a lot more dangerous to go wandering around here. Suppose I take you back there with me.
No, please.
There's nothing to be afraid of.
You think not? Very well. What can man do against fate? I tried. You're a witness that I tried. But I warn you, if I go back, it will mean death, not just for me, but for others. Many others.
Yes. I'm Major Mason.
Major Mason, I'm very happy to meet you. Welcome to Camp 14.
I'm very glad to meet you, too. I've heard a great deal about you. The job you've been doing here.
Oh, Dad. There was not much I could do when we were all prisoners. But now that we have been freed and are beginning to get food and medical supplies, it is almost like a holiday. May I present Miss Mia Singh, who has been assisting me?
Major Mason?
Miss Singh? I brought someone here with me, someone I picked up on the road, and
Stefan.
I did not want to come back. He made me.
Was any doubt come from the camp here?
Yes, of course. A curious case. We have never been able to discover his last name or even his nationality. We have many kinds here, you know. White Russians, Koreans, Siamese, Burmese.
Stefan, why did you do it? Why did you run away?
Because I was afraid. Because of this.
Another one. That same paper.
What is it?
We found about a dozen of them scattered around the camp this afternoon. Read it.
You have not escaped. There is no escape.
Do you recognize this symbol here?
Japanese Black Dragon Society.
It says there is no escape. And it's true. I tried to escape, and what happened? He brought me back. Our benefactor. Our savior.
I told you there was nothing to be afraid of, Stefan.
Afraid? Is death something to be feared? It is the one escape they cannot take from us. Death, to sleep, to rest.
To rest. Really in a pretty bad state. Couldn't you put him up in the administration building?
That might be exactly what they want.
Well, what do you mean?
It is not like the Black Dragon Society to warn someone they mean to kill. But suppose they don't know exactly who they do want. Wouldn't they do what they seem to have done? Make a general threat? And see who showed fear? Who did run away?
The war is over, Cornell.
The Major is right, Doctor. Are we still living in the past? And we do have a room here where we can put Stefan. The one down the hall.
Very well. But remember, I warned you. I, too, think it will mean death.
Stefan! Stefan!
The door is not locked, Major. Come in.
I didn't know whether I'd be disturbing you. Whether you were asleep.
Sleep? I never sleep. Never.
You're feeling better, though, aren't you? Safer?
It is at least quiet. A man can think. I was lying here, trying to remember.
Trying to remember what?
If I knew, I would know everything. But I don't know. There is much that I can remember.
Such as what?
The first one. The greatest one. Many lifetimes ago. The garden with a wall around it. The torchlight bright on their breastplates and helmets. And his face. Then the hill. The place of skulls. The earth shaking.
Stop it, Stefan. Whatever it is you're talking about, it's horrible.
Horrible, yes. But true. Those I can remember. I can't ever forget. But what I can't remember is now. Who I am, what I must do, and why. It will be horrible, too. As bad as the others, but
Look, Stefan, you're a sick man. Now, you've got to rest. You've got to stop thinking, brooding. I'm going to get you something, some medicine. That'll help you to sleep. Then when you're strong again, we'll take you away from here.
Sleep. I told you I cannot sleep. I cannot sleep.
No? We'll see about that. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Sleep. He does not believe that it is not for me. Not even the final one, which is dreamless. What's that? Outside the door. This door. But who is that? Who is there? No!
Major Mason, did you hear
Yes. Down at the end of the hall there. Stefan's room. Come on, quick.
Major Mason, Mia.
This way, down here.
It sounded like shots, as if...
What? Look. No, don't touch him. Let me see.
Dead?
Unless he's not flesh and blood. 3 slugs right over the heart. That's been fired right from the door there, and... Good Lord.
What is it?
His pulse. Still there. Where's your searcher?
Right next to the office. What there is of it.
Here, help me carry him in there. We'll operate immediately. Swab. The crack door right there. That's it. Give me a cent. Cut that off.
You don't have another one, Major.
Suture then. Tie it. How's his pulse?
Weak, but steady.
Another swab. That's it. Oh, I don't dare probe. What's it?
It is almost in the vena cava.
No worse than the others. Absolutely impossible. No one will believe it. But he's still alive. There.
The last one.
If it does pull through, he even holds out for a couple of hours. I'll believe anything. How is he, Mia?
I don't believe it either. But he's better. His pulse is still strong and there are no signs of shock.
I'll stay with him for a while. You go get some sleep.
No, I'm all right. I'd like to stay until we are sure that... Major, look. He's coming to.
No. Don't make me come back. Don't make me do it again. Don't.
Hello, Stefan. How are you feeling?
What? Oh, yes. The American. Why are you looking at me like that?
Because you have no right to be alive now. And you wouldn't be if it were not for him.
I never had any right to be alive. But I am. And I won't die. I told you I wouldn't. I couldn't. Until I do what I have to do.
And what's that?
It is coming to me. Slowly. I'm beginning to remember. I do not see it all yet. But I know what it will mean. Vultures and blood. Coffins and death.
Well, now we're starting to get somewhere. But I wish our friend with a bad memory would stop talking about what he has to do and do it. Here we are halfway through our story with only one shooting. And no corpses. Things don't pick up, I'm going to get in there myself and show them how to pour gore.
My goodness, aren't you ever satisfied? I've had the creeps ever since this story started. I just refuse to think about what's going to happen next.
Well, as the doctor said as he sewed himself up, shoot yourself.
What an awful part. Brr.
Why, Mary, did you say brisk?
I did not say brisk, and I'll thank you not to make fun of that word, because it's a mighty important word in the language of tea experts. Yes, brisk. B-R-I-S-K is the word they use to describe the flavor of Lipton tea.
It is the next evening, about 10 o'clock at night. The dust-laden wind still wails around the lonely camp, and the refugees from many nations sit huddled in their room. Stefan, his face gaunt and drawn, is sitting propped up in bed in the administration building. Are you sure you feel well enough to talk, Stefan?
There is pain, but that does not matter. What is it you wish to know, Major?
You were shot, Stefan. You know that. Did you see who it was that shot you?
Yes, I saw. But that is not important. Does not matter.
What do you mean it does not matter?
Just that, Doctor. You see, much has come back to me. Not who I am, but what I must do. And I know now that I have nothing more to fear. That I was shot by mistake.
Mistake?
What the doctor said last night about the Black Dragon Society was quite true. There are 2 men here in the camp for whom the Japanese have been searching for years. Men who have been leading the resistance movement in their own countries. Even now, the Black Dragon Society feels that those 2 men must die.
Do you know who they are?
Yes.
Do not mention their names. Do not even think them.
You know who they are, don't you, Mia? One of them is your own father, Ram Singh. And the other is Pao Tung.
Is that true?
Yes. It is true.
Then I think we ought to go see them at once. Make provisions to get them away from here. That, then, is the situation, gentlemen. And I should like to have you escorted to Shanghai as soon as possible.
You are very kind, Major. We felt that our best protection lay in anonymity. We may have been wrong. As for the danger, even though Japan has been beaten, not all the members of the Black Dragon nor their agents have been rounded up. So...
Nonsense, Ram Singh. You always were too cautious. The Major is right. We should have declared ourselves, returned to our countries at once. I, for one, will be happy to do so now.
Good.
There are a few things in my room I would like to get first. It will not take but a moment. I will meet you back here.
Fine.
You still look worried, Father.
Do I? Perhaps I am. After all these years, waiting, working, suffering, to be so close to what I waited and worked for.
But what is there to be afraid of? The Major has promised you protection.
I know, and I'm profoundly grateful. But I keep wondering how Stefan knew.
What was that?
Out on the compound, and it sounded like...
Altung.
Stay here, both.
No, wait, I'm coming with you. Father, you stay here. Lock this door and do not let in anyone unless you know who it is. Major Mason. Major Mason, where are you?
Over here. Blasted dust is so thick. Who's that?
Ronald, you heard it too?
Yes. Sounded as if it came from... There he is.
Powerful.
Yes.
Dead?
Sorry. Throat cut from ear to ear.
No. No, he just left us. He was only gone a minute.
That minute was all somebody needed.
Dr. Konov, Ram Singh. Major Mason asked me to take you up to the administration building.
Just a second. That stream out in the compound, was it?
Yes. Paltong.
And was he...
Yes. Killed. That is why the Major wanted me to come and get you. To put you somewhere where you would be safe. You are ready?
Yes. Poor Paltong. To have lived through so much, waited for so long. Then, is it known who did it?
No, not yet. But they are closing the gates. Whoever it was, we'll find it difficult to get away.
Will they? I wonder. In this dark, where the dust so thick you can hardly see. Besides, suppose it is not someone from outside. Suppose it is someone from the camp here. Someone who has been here for a long time. Wait. Oh. Dr. Konov! Dr. Konov, where are you? Dr. Konov! Must have lost him as we came through the alley. With this wind. Dr. Konov! Is that you? Who is it? Answer me! Tell me who it is. No, let me go.
Open the door for me, will you, Mia?
Of course, Major. Where are you going to put him?
Yeah. Right here, in the office. You told the guards at the gate?
They are closed now. No one will get out. But... Stefan, what are you doing up? You should not be out of bed.
I heard something outside. A cry, and I had to see. Which one is it?
Khartoum.
Dead?
Yes. Throat cut.
And the other? Your father, Mia.
Dr. Kurnoff went to get him. He is bringing him here where he will be safe. Now go back inside to bed. Father? Dr. Kurnoff?
Kurnoff, where is your father? Isn't he here?
Oh, I know. You were going
Didn't you go get him?
Yes, I did. We started across the compound together, but it was so dark. The dust was so thick. I lost him. I called to him, looked for him, and When there was no answer, I thought he had gone on ahead.
Stay here, all of you. I'll go.
I'm sorry, Mia.
Why? Why are you looking at me that way? And what are you sorry about?
I am sorry that we became separated, that I lost him.
I am sorry that he's dead.
Dead? How can you say that?
Because he must be dead. Because it's part of the pattern, the cycle.
That is enough, Stefan. Come on. I will take you back inside. You're a very sick man.
Yes, you should. Yes, I'm sick. Not as sick as some, but sick enough. I won't go back, though. Not yet. I must wait. I'm not sure for what, but I know I must wait for something. Listen.
Major Mason?
Yes.
You found him?
Yes. Yes, I found him.
Father.
I told you. I knew. He had to be dead.
Yes, he had to be dead. I think I knew it, too. Knew it was hopeless from the very beginning. How did it happen?
Strangled. Kissed.
Strangled. Dying out there in the darkness. 2 of them killed within a few short minutes, and we still do not know.
Not completely true, Mia.
You mean you know?
Your father and Pa Tung were around here for a long time. They died because Stefan revealed their identity. That means the murderer had to have access to that information. He had to know precisely where they were and when they were going to be alone. And he had to be able to get at the medical supplies here.
The medical supplies?
Because Pa Tung's throat was cut with a scalpel. And your father was strangled with a catgut suture. And that means... Don't move, gone up. Had you covered since I came in?
Dr. Kronos. No, I do not believe it.
Thank you, my dear. I am sure that there will be quite a few others who will feel that same way.
Stefan, you saw who shot you? Who was it?
He. Kronos.
You too, eh, Stefan? Well, I have a little something here I'd like to show all of you. Something...
Major, look out!
Quite fast enough, Kronos. At least you saved us the trouble of a trial. As for you, Stefan...
Do not blame him, Major. It was not his fault.
Not his fault. It was he who exposed your father and Pa Tung.
I know. But I think I also know why he did it.
You know? Then tell me in heaven's name.
Here. This should not come from me, but take it.
Money? You are giving me money?
Yes. Silver. The amount may not be exactly right, but now do you understand?
Yes. Yes. Thank you. And bless you. I do understand everything. What I have done and what I must do.
What does he understand? Why did you give him that money?
There was once someone else who betrayed a friend and was paid for it with silver. 30 pieces to be exact.
You mean?
Yes. In the Bible. One Judas Iscariot.
That's mad, insane. Are you implying that that's why he didn't die when he was shot? He's eternal, immortal?
I do not know. Perhaps he is not always the same. Perhaps in each crisis, in every period of history, there is always one who must play the role of the betrayer, even against his will. But this much I do know. That he is not immortal.
Wait a minute. Remember the story of Judas in the Bible. Come on, quick. What's that?
The money I gave him on the floor. And...
Good heavens.
Yes. Matthew
27, as I recall. And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed, and went and hanged himself.
The kind of character we like to have on this program. A little slow getting started, but he did deliver in the end. 2 corpses, plus his own. A nice down-to-earth sort of chap who wound up high in the air with a rope round his neck. Yes, we'll have to see that he's back with us again next week. Rope and all. Use the rope? Of course we will. You know our motto. No noose is bad news.
Well, that's not my motto, Mr. Host.
Is that so, Mary? Now, don't give me any of your Liptons.
I certainly won't give you any of my Liptons. If you...
And now, here's a word of advice, friends. If you should be invited to spend the weekend with a friend in the country, and he should wake you at midnight carrying a lantern and a shovel and invite you to go burying with him, make sure he doesn't mean burying with a U. And when I say you, I do mean you. Oh, by the way, this month's Inner Sanctum Mystery Novel is The Whistling Legs by Roman McDougall. Yes, the next week's Inner Sanctum story, directed by Hyman Brown, and brought to you by Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup. Next week's story is about a honeymoon couple. Funny kind of characters to be on this program, eh? Is that what you were thinking? Well, this couple finds a corpse right in the middle of their bed. And they can't ask the corpse to leave, not to its face anyway, because, you see, it has no face. Now it's time to close the squeaking door. Good night. Pleasant dreams.
HOJO Radio. We're your old-time radio headquarters. Stay tuned.
Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup present Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Good evening, friend. This is your host of the Inner Sanctum. Welcome through the squeaking door. Well, I hope you've spent a nice, quiet week building up your nervous system. You're going to need plenty of red corpuscles to digest tonight's gory little dish. What's that? Oh, you'd like to have a recipe. To a small quantity of apprehension, add a pinch of dismay. And cook on a slow fire, adding dread and panic in appropriate quantities. Then throw in a dose of terror and a whiff of horror. And make it boil, brother. Make it boil.
Mr. Host, not a very appetizing dish. Let me give you my recipe.
All right, Mary.
Well, take equal parts of warmth, good cheer, and human comfort. Spice with a brisk flavor, and you have Lipton tea. Yes, and serve it only to people who know how to enjoy life. For Lipton's famous brisk flavor makes this tea a grand welcome drink. You see, brisk means that Lipton's tastes tangy and spirited, never flat or insipid. So, friends, I wish you'd try Lipton's, even if you're not a regular tea drinker. That brisk flavor is something very special. It's the reason why you'll like Lipton's.
Well, now, here's a personal question. How would you like to go on a honeymoon? Well, you're going on one whether you like it or not. Because tonight's story is called Till Death Do Us Part. It's an original radio play by Emil Tepperman. And our stars tonight are Ann Shepard and Larry Haynes. Just look at them. Joe and Nancy Page. married hardly 5 hours, and parked at the side of the road by the bank of the old mill stream, and whispering sweet nothings to each other, living in a fool's paradise.
Oh, gee, Nancy, it's wonderful to be married to you.
Oh, darling.
Gosh, if the other clerks at Scott's department store could see us now.
I don't want anybody to see us. I just want to be alone with you two for the rest of my life.
Gosh, baby, I hope you don't mind spending our honeymoon in a tourist cabin instead of a swanky hotel.
No, I love it this way. The stream rushing past, the moonlight shining on the bridge, and the woods all around. Joe, look, there's another car. They're parking on the bridge.
Well, he's turning his headlights out, too. They think they've got privacy, because they can't see us parked here.
Joe, look. That couple is getting out of the car.
Yeah. We're walking the bridge, I guess.
Hmm?
Wonder if this is their wedding night, too.
Oh, that's a gorgeous couple. Joe?
What?
The couple, they're acting very strange.
They're having an argument.
Joe, look what he just took out of his pocket.
Holy mackerel. A gun.
He's pointing the gun at her. Joe! He shot her in the face.
Holy mackerel. No, it can't be. It must be a gag of some kind.
But you saw the flashes when he fired the gun. And see how still she lies. Her body crumbled at his feet.
Yeah. He's picking her up. I bet he's going to throw her in the...
Joe,
Nancy, you push my hand down on the horn, he sees us.
He's coming across the bridge.
Heading for us.
What?
He knows we witnessed the murder. He's got to kill us, too.
Oh, quick, stop the car.
Stay here before he can turn the car around.
Then what do we do?
Oh, we'll duck into the woods. Come on. Quick. Let's run.
My high heels, I can't run fast.
Oh, here's through these bushes. Get behind this tree.
He's getting out of his car. Joe, he has the gun. He means to kill us.
He's coming straight for this tree. He knows we're here. Nancy, we've got to run for our lives. Here, take my hand. Come on.
Shooting at us?
Run, Nancy. Faster. Faster.
Joe, I'm tired. I can't go much farther.
We can't stop. He's close behind us.
He's gaining on us.
No, but he's still after us.
Oh, let's stop. Red.
No, not yet. I saw headlights up ahead. Maybe there's a road. We can only make it.
Joe, I'm through. I can't go anymore.
Nancy, look. Through the trees. The road. Come on, one last sprint. Here's the road. Let's stop.
I never thought we'd make it. Is he still after us? Coming through the woods?
I don't know. We'll stop the first car that comes along. Oh, now take it easy, baby.
I was just thinking of that poor girl lying dead on the bridge.
Our wedding night, too. Here comes a car. I'll stop it.
It isn't stopping.
He went right by.
Joe.
What?
I think I hear something behind us. In the woods.
Oh, it's only the wind and the trees.
Suppose he should suddenly step out of these woods with his gun.
Maybe he gave up. Maybe he went back to take care of that body.
Our car's there. With our marriage license in the glove compartment and the receipt Mrs. Swenson gave us for the cabin.
Yeah. He'll know all about us. Who we are, where to find us.
And we do not think about him except his face. The face of a murderer.
Come on, Nancy. I think we better start walking. We've got to get to the cabin and phone the police.
How much further, Joe?
Just around the bend.
I'd like to lie down and sleep right here on the road.
Fine way to spend a wedding night.
Darling, look. We're there. Swenson's cabin. See, they're all dark.
Everybody's asleep.
We'll wake up Mrs. Swenson. Use the phone.
Joe.
What's the matter?
Look, in front of our cabin.
What? Hey. That's our car.
The murderer must have come here by another route. Wait for us.
I don't see anybody around.
Maybe he's in the car.
Wait here, I'll go and see.
No, Joe, you're kidding.
No, don't worry. We both saw his face. He's got to kill us both. Don't you see, baby, if I go over there alone, he won't choke till he knows where you are.
But, Joe,
Now, take it easy, will you? You stay back here in the shadows. It'll be all right. It's okay, Nancy. Car's empty.
Maybe he's hiding somewhere close by.
No, we must have skipped out.
Why did he bring our car back?
Well, he wanted to get away from the bridge. Don't you see, he must have dumped that girl's body in the river, and then he took our car away. No trace.
Joe, I'm scared. Maybe he's hiding inside the cabin waiting for us.
No, be a sat. One shot would wake up all the people in the other cabins, Mrs. Swenson, too. You know, he'd never get away with it. Come on, we'll go in our cabin, get cleaned up, then we'll use the phone. The switch is right here. There. See? There's nobody hiding. Holy mackerel.
What is it?
Oh. Over there. On the bed.
What?
The girl's body. With her face shot away. Just like we saw on the bridge.
Imagine coming back to your cabin on your wedding night and finding a corpse on your bed. A beautiful corpse who'd had her face lifted without going to a beauty parlor. Don't worry, before the night's over, the murderer may have his face lifted, too, by a rope around his neck.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry for those two young people.
Oh, Mary, you're always feeling sorry for our characters. Why don't you sing a different tune?
Would you really like me to? Because I do know a different tune. I mean that new Lipton tea jingle. Like lots of folks, I've been hearing it on the radio this week, and, well, I'd kind of like to sing it myself. So, won't you help me out there on the organ, please? Sing a song of Lipton Tea, always brisk in flavor, B-R-I-S-K. Never wishy-washy, no, siree. So sing a song of Lipton and buy Lipton tea.
Very, very good, Mary. Why, that's the first time I felt like tapping my foot since I turned up my toes.
Well, folks, I don't sing too well, but you'll admit that the song has a real catchy tune. And you know, I like the part that goes, always brisk in flavor, B-R-I-S-K. But goodness, most of us have known for a long time that Lipton's has a brisk flavor. So, folks, listen for the song on your radio and see if you can't sing it better than I do.
Well, now let's get back to that cabin. See how Joe and Nancy are getting along with their uninvited visitor, the corpse in their cabin. Yes, it's one of those times when two's company and three's a shroud. I wonder what they're going to do with her, don't you?
Now, listen, Nancy, we have to think this over. We're in a jam. For the love of Pete, Nancy, this is no time to faint.
Oh, darling, it's awful. Her face shot away.
Don't look at her. Here, sit down.
Joe, what do we do?
I don't know. I have to think. On our wedding night to have a thing like this happen.
Why did he leave her here?
To put us in a spot. The cops will never believe our story now. They'll think we killed her.
We? But, Joe, we never saw her before in our lives.
Nancy, we've got to get rid of her.
What?
Sure, we've got to take her back to the bridge and dump her right back on the murderer.
No.
It's the only thing we can do. Suppose the cops come here and find her. They'll grill us for hours. They'll hold us for the inquest. It might take a week, 2 weeks. A fine way to spend a honeymoon in jail.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Sure, we've got to do it. We've got to take her back.
But that means we have to lift her up and carry her.
I'll carry her, baby. But you'll have to help.
Oh, no, I couldn't.
You've got to, honey.
What must I do?
Now, look. You go out and get the back door of the car open, and I'll bring her out.
Joe, the Behind us here with the body.
Quick, throw the blanket over. I'll see who it is.
I can't go near
Do as I say, quick.
I'll try. Give me a minute.
Who is it?
It's I, Mrs. Swenson.
Mrs. Swenson. Have you got it covered up?
The blanket, it's too short.
Just a minute, Mrs. Swenson. Her feet are sticking out. Get those clothes out of the valise. Throw them on top of her.
That's the best I can do.
All right, sit on the bed in front of her feet.
Hey, come in, Mrs. Hayes.
Coming, Mrs. Swenson. Everything okay, Nancy?
Yes, but I feel faint.
Oh, bite your lip. Do anything, but don't faint now. Good evening, Mrs. Swenson.
Good evening, Mr. Page. I hope I'm not intruding. I saw your light, so I knew you weren't asleep yet.
Oh, we were just going to sleep. Weren't we, Nancy?
Yes. I should have thought you'd be asleep long ago. See, I brought you a jug of my own homemade apple cider. I'll put it right here, and some glasses, too.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Swenson.
That's awfully nice of you.
Yeah.
Oh, not at all. It's so nice to have a honeymoon couple. I wanted to do it earlier, but my heart was bothering me. I have a bad heart, you know.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry to hear that, Mrs. Swenson. Well, thank you. Thank you for everything.
Well, aren't you going to try my cider? I thought you'd like to drink a toast.
Well, we're not very thirsty right now, Mrs. Swenson. Are we, Nancy?
No. Oh, no. Of course not. Now I'll run right along and leave you both strictly alone.
Yes. Well, good night, Mrs. Swenson, and thanks again.
Good night, Mrs. Swenson.
Oh, you poor dear. You look all tuckered out sitting there on the bed. I bet you don't even know how to make up a bed. Here, I'll make it up for you.
Oh, no.
Well, it's the least I can do. Now you just sit over here on the chair.
No, please don't.
Oh, why?
Well, she means, please don't bother.
Well, it's no bother at all. Oh, now look at all those clothes all thrown around. Oh! What's this?
We can explain everything, Mrs. Swenson.
Shot. She's been shot in the face. Murder.
No, please, Mrs. Swenson, it's not what you
Murder.
No.
You're no honeymoon.
No.
You're murderous.
No, stop that.
Let me go.
Shut up. Stop that.
Joe, the clouds are fluttering her. Show your hands.
I'm just trying to stop her yelling. Please, Mrs. Swenson. Stop it.
Joe, what happened?
I don't know. She just went limp and slid down on the floor. Mrs. Swenson, are you all right?
Joe, what is it?
She's dead.
Joe, you killed your mother's her to death.
I'm a murderer. Me, Joe Page, a killer. We started out on a honeymoon, and now I'm a murderer. I'm a murderer. Isn't that a laugh?
Joe!
I was kind of dizzy for a second.
Please, darling. You look like a ghost. You're trembling.
Nancy, what are we going to do?
Are you sure she's dead?
Yeah. Look at her face. Sure she's dead. And that one on the bed. We're in a jam, Nancy. In a jam.
Darling, I wish I were dead, too.
They'll hold us for murder, Nancy.
But it was an accident. You didn't mean to kill Mrs. Swenson.
Yeah, but how will we ever prove we didn't kill the other one, too? We'll never be able to find that guy with the black road, so the cops will pin the rap on us.
They'll take me out of here. I can't stand it. Her on the bed. Mrs. Swenson on the floor. Oh, let's go way far away.
Can you run away?
Yes. Anything, but let's not stay here. I won't go to jail. I won't. Take me away.
Yeah, sure. Sure, we'll get out. We'll keep going. Nobody knows our names. They can't trace us.
No.
Come on. Get the clothes packed.
Joe, I can't close this valise.
I'll close it. You get the other one packed. And don't forget anything. Look under the bed.
Yeah.
Be sure we don't leave a single thing behind.
No, we mustn't leave anything behind. Everything's packed, Joe. Hurry now. Hurry.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
I just thought. Our fingerprints. All over the place.
What do we do?
We have to wipe them off. Off everything. Grab a towel. We'll wipe everything in sight.
Oh, wiped everything, Joe, I think.
The bedstead?
Yeah?
The bathroom? The faucet?
Yeah.
Yeah. The doorknobs? Dresses?
Yeah.
And the water pitcher?
Yes.
Well, I guess that's all. Let's go.
Joe, cider jug. We didn't wipe the cider jug.
Well, we didn't touch it.
I'll wipe it anyway.
Okay. Snap it up, will you?
Okay.
All right, come on. Oh, I'll feel better in the car out on the road.
Do you think we've got anything?
I don't know. I can't think. I'm numb all over.
Oh, my darling.
Holy mackerel, Nancy. I'm a murderer. A killer running away. Oh, we shouldn't have done it. We shouldn't have run away.
Joe, it's not as if you killed her on purpose. It was an accident.
Nancy, do you realize you're married to a murderer?
No, it wasn't murder.
It was so easy. So easy to kill. I never thought it could be so easy. All I did was to hold my hand over her face.
Joe, please.
What time is it?
It's almost 2 o'clock. We've been driving for an hour.
Got a cigarette?
Yeah.
I think there are some in the glove compartment.
Yeah, I'll get them. Joe.
What?
Our marriage license. It's gone.
What? You sure?
It's gone, Joe. It was right here.
The murderer. He took it.
Why? Why would he take our marriage license?
I don't know. I can't think straight anymore.
Joe, he knows our names. He knows everything about us. Darling, there's no use running away. He knows who we are. We'll always be at his mercy.
Oh, I feel all in. I can't drive anymore. I've got to rest and think.
Pull up at the side of the road. Look, see? Up ahead, a gas station closed for the night. We'll park there.
Yeah. Oh, I wish I could sleep. I wish I could sleep for 100 years.
My poor Joe. Here, put your head on my shoulder.
First night of our honeymoon. And maybe the last.
Joe, it's 6 o'clock.
Hey, it's daylight.
Yeah.
Gosh, I slept all through the night.
I guess I fell asleep, too. Oh, it's chilly.
Yeah. You should have closed the windows. Gee, honey, you look pretty with your hair mussed up. Gosh, your hands are cold. Here, let me warm them.
This is our first morning together.
Yeah. First morning together. But this isn't the way I used to dream about it. Oh, baby, how'd we ever get in a mess like this? We're back where we were last night, the same jam. Nothing's changed. Those 2 corpses still in the cabin. What do we do?
Darling, let's not think about it for a while yet. Let's go find a place for breakfast. Our first breakfast together. After that, we'll go back to thinking about it. But at least let's have those few minutes of a sort of day of execution.
Yeah, baby, okay.
Look, there's a place, a diner.
Yeah, but I haven't got much appetite.
What we both need is something hot.
You think there's an alarm out for us yet?
Let's not think about it.
No other customers inside. That's great.
Good morning. You've been traveling all night?
Yeah, all night. Some scrambled eggs, please.
That'll take a few minutes. That's all right. We'll wait. Oh, I'll turn the radio up for you.
Friendly neighborhood station with the early morning local news. During the night, death came to Mrs. Hannah Swenson, whose tourist cabins are located on Bay Park Highway. Mrs. Swenson's body was discovered by Oscar Jansen, the handyman, who was awakened by the sound of a car driving away from one of the cabins. Investigating, he found Mrs. Swenson lying on the floor of cabin 3. Dr. Macklin, who was summoned immediately, announced that Mrs. Swenson had died of a heart attack. He had been treated for a severe heart ailment.
A heart attack, and I didn't kill her.
Years
She
without
didn't
much
say anything about
success.
the other body.
Shh, quiet.
The state police are anxious to contact a couple who occupied the cabin and who apparently left during the night. They are traveling in a blue 4-door sedan, license number 8N1637. Their names are not known as yet, but if they should hear this broadcast, they are requested to call at the state police barracks.
Let's get out of here, Nancy.
State police are
Say, what about your egg?
Can't wait. We're in a hurry. Come on, Nancy.
What does it mean? Why didn't you mention the other body?
It's a trap, honey. Get it? They're keeping mum about the girl's body.
No, Joe, I don't think so.
Well, what else could it be? We left 2 bodies there, didn't we?
Sally, stop the car, please. Maybe the real murderer was waiting close by all the time. Maybe after we left, he went in and took the girl's body away again.
I don't like it. I want to get away from here, far away.
Joe, wait. Look, darling, don't you realize you're not a murderer? You didn't kill Mrs. Swenson. It was a heart attack.
That's what they say. I say it's a trap. Let's get moving.
No, it's too late. Look.
State troopers.
Yeah, he's coming right over here.
Sure, he's got this license number. Well, baby, I guess our honeymoon's over.
You, Mr. Joseph Page?
Yeah.
You're Joe Page?
Yeah, that's right.
You, lady. You're Nancy Page?
Yes?
Well, then, this belongs to you.
What? What is it?
Take it.
License.
What? Where'd you get it?
One of our men happened to be cruising down by the old mill stream last night. Saw a fella get out of a roadster on the bridge carrying a girl's body. Fella dumped the girl over the rail, and our man went after him. They had a gunfight, and the fella got a slug through the heart. When we went to his car, we found this. On the back of it, you notice he wrote your license number.
Then you got the murderer?
Sure did. We didn't recover the body of the girl. It was carried downstream. May take several days to find it.
Then we're not wanted for anything?
Well, your other folks were in Mrs. Swenson's cabin last night. We figure you left in a hurry. Kind of embarrassing to have a thing like that happen on your honeymoon, huh? Can't blame you.
Oh, we're free to go on our honeymoon?
Just come down to the barracks and sign a statement, and then you can be on your way.
Would you mind, officer? Just a few minutes. We want to go back in the diner for our honeymoon breakfast.
Say, what's going on here? 2 measly murders. And a happy ending. I was hoping Joe and Nancy would end up in a cell with a warden asking them what they wanted for their last meal. What do I get instead? A wedding breakfast. The crowd down at the morgue are going to laugh at me for this. It won't be their last laugh either. No, they had that already. Yes, I have a feeling that somebody's been tampering with tonight's story. Was it you, Mary Bennett?
What? Why, that's plain silly. How can you suspect me of changing the story?
Yes, I guess not. Otherwise, when our little couple was so scared, they would have tried whistling in the dark.
Whistling?
Yes, whistling that new Lipton tea jingle. Mary?
Well, let me tell you that lots of people will be whistling and singing that Lipton jingle, and real soon, too. Because it's got the kind of tune that everybody likes. Just the way they like Lipton tea. So keep your ears open for that Lipton jingle, won't you? And remember, you just don't know how good tea can be till you know how good Lipton's is. So sing a song of Lipton's and buy Lipton tea.
And now a parting word of advice, friends. Our solution for eliminating crime. The perfect way to prevent any murderer from committing murder is to commit the murderer before he commits the murder. Oh, by the way, this month's Inner Sanctum mystery novel is The Whistling Leg by Roman McDougall. Yes, and next week's Inner Sanctum story, directed by Hyman Brown and brought to you by Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup. Next week's story is so scary, it's going to freeze the airways. It's about a man who's dead, but he doesn't know it. And you know, there's only one man who can get away with that. His name? Why, of course, it's Boris Karloff. That's right. Boris Karloff will appear on Inner Sanctum next Tuesday night. So, if you're planning to drop dead, wait till Tuesday. We can use the publicity. And now it's time to close the squeaking door, so good night. Pleasant dreams.
Our next broadcast is a supernatural fantasy series that ran from 1943 through 1945. There were 78 episodes produced altogether. The show's strength was stories from famous writers of the two genres, including Robert Louis Stevenson, Victor Hugo, Edgar Allan Poe, and even Charles Dickens. One of the more unusual aspects of the show was that there was no music, other than between scenes. Some have claimed that this lack of music helps to keep the show from being dated, as it remains fresh to this day. We present to you The Weird Circle on HOJO Radio.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale, The Mark of the Plague.
Give me your hand, Lucille.
What is it, Harry? You look worried this afternoon. It's much too beautiful here to frown like that.
Sit down on this bench next to me, darling. I have something to tell you.
There. Huh. Now, dearest, what is it you have on your very, very serious mind?
Oh, you little minx. You can't take anything seriously, can you? Not even love.
You know I love you more than anything in the world. And nothing's ever too serious when we have each other. All right, smile now. That's better.
It certainly would be difficult if I had something important to tell you. You're about as unpredictable.
Look, Harry, look over there.
What?
It's a double cowslip coming out already. One of the roots I set out myself.
Oh, darling, everything's blossoming. It will be all our lives for us, won't it? As long as we're together.
And we will be always, won't we, dear?
Oh, I hope so.
Is there any doubt? There isn't in my mind. Nothing could keep us apart, Harry. Nothing. Not even death.
Why, Lucille, what a thing to say. Thank heaven we have a long time ahead of us before we have to think of things like that.
There's no way of telling that, Harry. You never know when death is standing on your own doorstep.
Well, I never know from minute to minute what's going on inside that pretty head of yours.
I'm serious now. You never can tell. Oh, can't we arrange to be married soon? I want to so much.
Well, that was what I wanted you to sit down here and talk about. Our marriage.
There's nothing I'd rather talk about.
We may have to wait, dear heart.
Wait?
Just for a little while, until I can talk to Father.
Your father doesn't want us to marry, does he? He's afraid of something. What is it, Harry? You've never told me.
Well, he's a very proud man, Lucille. Too proud for his own good.
And I'm just a shopkeeper's daughter. Is that it? But we love each other, don't we? Tell me, Harry. Tell me that you love me.
Oh, I do, Lucille. Can't you see it in my eyes? Hear it in my voice? I've never felt this way about anyone before.
But you don't love me enough to stand on your own feet against your father.
I will, Lucille, I will, but you know what a situation this is. My father, all our friends, everyone, they'll talk. I'm thinking of you, dearest, as well as myself. Will we be able to last against all the opposition?
If we're strong enough, if we believe in each other and in ourselves, yes. Determination is what we have to have.
Why, Lucille, you sound almost militant. I've never seen you this way before.
I feel very strongly about this, Harry. I don't believe in snobbishness. Not in our day and age, not now. And when it's us, well, I guess it just hurts more than ever.
Lucille,
London's a big place, Harry, but not as big as that. We're living here within the boundaries of the same city. My father is an honest, good man. And just because he happens to own a shop instead of having a family fortune the way your father does, doesn't make him less than anyone else, Harry. Not in my eyes, anyway.
Lucille, we'll talk about it again very soon, shall we?
Talk about it soon. Why can't we settle it now? Get something definite in mind. Darling, it can't go on like this.
In 2 weeks, Lucille, we'll talk to Father together. We'll go to him and tell him the whole thing. And when he sees you, dear, when he knows what a wonderful girl you really are, then he can't object.
Is that a promise?
Yes. You see, I'm going away for a little while. I have to travel to the north for Father's estate. When I come back...
All right, dearest. I'll wait until then. 2 weeks.
You come then. Come to the house, and we'll go to him.
I'll be there, darling. Oh, someone's just come into the shop. I'll have to go. Daddy's in the office and doesn't want to be disturbed.
All right, my love. I'll go out by the back gate. Goodbye, dear. I do love you so very much.
Goodbye. In 2 weeks, I'll be with you again.
Goodbye.
I'm coming. Wouldn't be in such a hurry. Oh, Mr. Kent, I'm so sorry you had to wait.
Mrs. Darcy, good day.
Daddy's busy, and he left me to mind the shop. I'm afraid I was playing truant.
Perfectly all right, ma'am. I only wondered whether...
I know. You wondered whether that box had arrived from the Levant. The goods you wanted.
Why, yes, exactly.
Well, it has arrived, Mr. Kent. In fact, it just came this morning from Holland. I do hope the things you wanted are in it. Here it is. Here. Father opened it when it came.
Oh, let's see.
Here are the things. Yes, and here are yours.
Mm-hmm.
Some herbs and this material, wasn't it?
Exactly.
You may as well take them along right now if you like.
And the payment?
Oh, why don't you settle that with Daddy later? I'm not sure what their value is, and he will know.
Well, that'll be fine, Mrs. Darcy. Thank you, and good day.
Good day, sir.
Lucille!
Yes, Daddy, I'm right here.
Oh, Lucille, this is terrible.
What, Daddy? Well, you look as though you'd seen it go.
I almost have. And I'm likely to see more unless we get rid of that confounded box.
What box? Oh, the one that came this morning from Holland.
Yes. It's still here, isn't it? Where is it? Oh, it's been opened.
Why, you opened it yourself when it arrived.
Oh, may heaven have mercy on us.
What is it, Daddy? What's happened?
Why, it's this. This letter. It just came a few minutes ago from Holland.
Yes?
From the agents there. They warned me not to open the box. The plague has broken out in Holland, and they believe it was brought in this very shipment. The one this box came in.
But, Daddy...
No one has received anything from it, have they?
I just gave Mr. Kent his goods from it this very minute.
Oh, it can't be. It can't be. The plague spreads like fire once it's started.
Well, I'll go after him and get the things back.
No, Lucille. No. We daren't. We can't tell anyone. Not anyone, do you understand?
What if Mr. Kent...
No one. If it starts here, no one must know where it came from. I'd be ruined.
But the box, Daddy, what'll we do with it?
We'll burn it. That's it. We'll take it out and burn it. And we'll pray that the goods Kent took out of it were untainted.
Lucille. Oh, thank heaven you've come.
You said 2 weeks, Harry. I've come at the time you said.
Come in, Lucille. I hoped it was you. I answered the door myself. I've hardly been able to contain myself waiting for you, my darling.
Daddy's been ill, or I would have been here yesterday.
Well, my father's ill, too. I've been worried to death. I couldn't leave here to come to you. The servants are frightened, and they won't go near him.
Frightened?
Yeah, there are so many ill in London now. The doctors are too busy to answer the calls. There's even talk of it's being the plague.
Oh, no.
Haven't you heard it? Most of our friends have shut their houses up and gone away already. If it gets any worse, we'll have to do the same.
Oh, Harry, I'll go with you. I'll go anywhere or do anything to be with you. Take me to your father. I'll be his nurse. I'll take care of him. I can't let you go away and leave me here, especially not now.
Oh, darling, you're splendid. Come, I'll take you into him. He's well enough now. He seems better, and we'll talk to him. Tell him you're going to nurse him. Come on, this is his room back here. He sleeps on this floor.
Oh, Harry, going to be all right, isn't it?
I'm sure it is, my dearest. Ready?
Go ahead.
Father.
Harry, come in, boy.
Father, I've brought someone to see you.
Someone to see me? Everyone's afraid now. Who is it?
It's a young lady who wants to help you. She's going to be your nurse, Father.
How do you do, Mr. Moore?
Young lady, aren't you frightened? Everyone else is.
Not at all. Now, just rest yourself, because I'm used to this. And we'll be all right.
Yes. Who is this, Harry?
Miss Darcy, Father. Very good friend of
Darcy?
mine. Well, yes, Father. Lucille.
You dare.
Oh, Harry, he mustn't get upset this way.
Oh, now, don't mind Lucille. He's always had a sudden temper. He'll be all right.
You dare bring that woman here. I'm a sick man. You're trying to kill me.
No, Father. Lucille is going to take care of you. You'll see how fine she is. You'll see.
I won't stand for it. You'll see. I won't have it. She may stay forever, but I won't receive her here. Take care of me, indeed.
But, Mr. Moore, Oh, Harry, I'm going.
Lucille, no, please. Wait just a minute. It'll be all right.
Oh, all right, indeed. Harry, my own son, trying to kill his father.
Father, rest a while. Think. Just think what this may mean. Lucille here. You'll know her. You'll love her as I do.
Love her? Oh, you fool boy. Can't you see what you're doing? You'll kill me. Kill me.
Perhaps we'd better go outside, Harry, just for a little while.
Yes. Father, we're going now. Rest yourself and think. We'll be in the next room.
How dare he, bringing someone like that into my house?
Oh, Lucille, I'm ashamed. I'm sorry. It was awful for you.
He's very ill, darling. He doesn't know everything he's saying.
Sometimes, Lucille, sometimes I think you're an angel. No one else would take it that way. No one else would understand.
But we're in love. I can't help understanding everything about you.
But he was so terrible, so much worse than I dreamed he'd dare to be.
Oh, my darling, don't you be afraid. Everything will be all right. It surely must be.
The servants. If only I could get them to go near him. But they threatened to leave if they had to serve him. Darling, I'd like to send you home again. I'll come to you right away.
No, you don't understand me very well if you think I'd leave now. I came to help you and to help your father. Perhaps I can win his gratitude and make him understand. I want to try. I really want to try.
Oh, you're wonderful. You have the spirit of a true woman. Darling, if you would stay, even after the way he's acted,
Harry! Harry, what is it? You're not feeling well.
It's nothing, just my head. For 2 weeks now, I've suffered with the most awful headaches. They pass quickly, though. It's all right.
Just sit down here and let me stroke your forehead.
Oh.
There, now it'll be better.
Oh, your hand. So cool. Oh, darling, just the touch of you makes everything all right.
We will be all right, Harry. We've got to be all right. Nothing can touch us. Nothing.
I shouldn't have let you come. What if you should become marked with the sickness?
Don't fear that. Nothing will happen to us. We are safe in our love.
But, Father, what if he really has the plague? What?
It won't happen to us, dearest. As for your father, don't worry. There are ways of getting him to agree with us. Don't worry about that. Everything will be all right. I'll take care of that. Yes. Don't you worry, Harry. I will take care of that.
Lucille? Lucille?
Yes, Harry. You've been in there with your father so long.
I know, darling. He's very ill. I'm afraid...
He hasn't got any better since I've been here. I know. But I can do no more.
I know, darling. I know there isn't anything anyone can do.
You look ill yourself, dearest. Are you all right? You won't let me help you.
I'm all right. It's just these headaches. Father's sent me out, Lucille. He wants something.
Are you going out of the house?
Yes, darling.
But it isn't safe. No one goes out. Only the men driving the carts that carry away.
No, don't think of those things, Lucille. They're too horrible. I'll be careful.
Where do you have to go?
To Father's lawyer. He wants him to come here.
His lawyer?
Father's afraid he's going to die.
But he may live for days, for weeks. He might...
But he wants to be sure. Something about his will, the people in his house.
And then again, on second thought, perhaps he will die, Harry. Perhaps he will. But hurry, dearest, hurry. If he wants to see him, hurry. He may die even before you get back.
Why?
He may,
Lucille.
Harry. You can never tell.
Lucille, you're not serious.
It's a serious thing. No, go. Go on. Get the lawyer. Everything will be all right. I'll go in and take care of your father.
Wait for me, darling. Wait. I'll be back right away.
His money. His money. That's all he's worried about. As though that made any difference. It's not his money I want. Yes, hurry, darling, hurry. Because things may happen before you return.
Harry, are you back?
No, it's Lucille, Mr. Moore. Harry's just left.
Go away. I want Harry. I must see my lawyer. I must see...
Be quiet now, Mr. Moore. You'll be all right. Just let me put this compress on your forehead.
I don't want that compress. Put it down. I don't want kindness from you. I want to remember how I hate you.
You do hate me, don't you? You hate me enough to want to kill me.
Where's Harry? Where's the lawyer? You tried to steal everything I've got.
Is that what's really worrying you, your money? That's not worrying me.
My estate. To a shopkeeper's daughter. To a common woman.
Be careful. Be careful, Mr. Moore. You're a sick man. You're dangerously sick. More dangerously than you know. Right now, you may die. Do you hear me? You may die even before they get back.
No. I have to see them. I'm going to see my son again.
Why?
He's bringing the lawyer. Mr. Stone is coming.
It is your money, then. Your money.
My name, too. My name, too. A creature like you.
Your name. One might think that was worth anything anymore. What's wrong with the name I have? What's wrong with Darcy?
Darcy. When the name of Moore is in question. Everyone knows the secret now. Everyone knows. This confounded plague started with the Darcys. And it seems to me that you're part of it.
Darcy. The plague. And it finishes the Moors. It finishes the Moors. Do you understand, Mr. Moore? It finishes the Moors.
Where's Harry?
You'll wait, Mr. Moore. You'll wait a long time before you see him again. No man can despise me, call me common, and drag my name in the dust as you have. No one, do you hear? You're going to wait a long time. I'm going to put this compress on you, whether you like it or not.
No.
Lucille? Lucille? What is it? Where are you?
Oh, Harry. Harry, come quickly.
Darling, what is it?
Harry, your father, he...
Lucille. Poor father. Dead. Oh, I can't believe it. He must have struggled at the end.
He was weak. So weak, Harry. He could hardly move.
This compress. It must have slipped over his face when he died.
Yes, it must have. Well, Harry, I wanted to have him like me. And want me to marry you.
He would have, Lucille. He would have. He had to love you.
I went out. I called to the servants. I wanted somebody to help me, but there was no one here.
The servants have all left. They were too frightened to stay. All of London is frightened. Frightened and quiet. It's better in here.
Oh, Harry, I feel so weak. So terrible.
Come with me, darling. Come out of here.
Yes.
There. We'll feel better in the sitting room.
But the lawyer. You went for a lawyer. Where is he?
He's coming. He said he'd come. But it's no use now, I guess. No use.
Harry, your father, he wanted you at the end. But he died before I could reach him. He died without saying anything. He died before I got there.
But, Lucille, you said...
He couldn't talk. He hated me. He hated me, and he would never have forgiven me.
Be quiet, darling. Be quiet. Now, sit still there for a minute.
He looked at me with those horrible red eyes, and he called me common. There was no one there.
Stop, Lucille. No. This isn't true. Tell me it isn't.
No, Harry, no, don't touch me. Your father, And you have it, too. You have it, too. Look, I can see it in your eyes. The fever's in you, too.
Lucille, you're delirious. It isn't true. Nothing you're saying is true.
No, go away.
This can't be real. I'm going in to see.
No, Harry.
I don't believe you.
No. Harry, please don't go in there.
Let go of me, Lucille.
Please, stay away from there.
Go back, Lucille. Please, now. Calm yourself. Go back into the other room. I'll be right back. I just want to see.
But you don't have to see anymore. You don't have to see anything.
Please, Lucille.
No, Harry, no, please, no.
Well, come with me, then, if you want. But I must see what's happened. It's true, then.
Oh, Harry, I couldn't help it.
You murdered him.
No, I didn't.
Lucille.
Didn't. He asked for you, Harry. I went to him and he looked at me.
Lucille, tell me again you didn't. This cloth, it was a compress. It slipped. It must have slipped down on his face when he moved. Lucille, tell me.
Yes, Harry, I couldn't live always with that on my mind. I couldn't face you.
Oh, Lucille, you couldn't have.
Harry! Harry, come with me.
Oh.
Let me hold you.
Oh. I'm so weak, Lucille.
Here, let me help you. Just come with me into the other room. It's horrible in here.
Oh, Lucille.
Lean on me, that's it. Just lean on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, I need you, Lucille. I don't believe
In here, that's it.
Oh.
In here, my darling.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'll loosen your clothes.
Oh, that's better, Lucille. It's better.
There. Oh, Harry, speak to me. Don't just look at me like that.
Lucille, tell me you didn't.
Oh, my darling. How can I tell you? How can I live?
Lucille, my father, he died alone, didn't he?
No. I was with him. Oh, Harry. Harry! Speak to me. Harry, please, speak to me. Oh, no. The lawyer. They've come. I must go and answer and let them in. But I can't. I can't let them into a house of death. Look, everyone, look at the house where misery has become massive. I'm coming. If someone come to help, they'll see what happened. Yes, you may come in, sir. You may come into the house of death. You too, come in and see. All the world will see soon enough. How do I look? Like a murderess? Like a woman who has committed a crime? An unholy soul condemned for the rest of her life? Yes, I'm coming. Why so much impatience, Mr. Stone? You'll find no business here. No business but with the dead. My love is dead. Everything is dead. Come in, sir. Yes, come in.
Oh, Mr. Moore sent for me. Will you be so good as to tell him I'm here?
There is no Mr. Moore here.
What's the matter, girl? Are you mad? Well, this is his house. I've been coming here for years.
Mr. Moore is no longer here.
But his son came to call for me just a minute ago.
Come in if you wish. If you dare to enter a house in London now, come in and see for yourself.
Well, yes, his room's right back this way. I'll go back.
That's the way to Mr. Moore's room, all right, but you will find only...
But isn't that Harry in there in the sitting room?
It's not Harry.
Why, yes, it is. Doesn't he see me? He's looking right at me.
Harry's not there.
My dear girl, what on earth's wrong with you? What's going on in this house?
There's nothing right here, Mr. Stone. Nothing can ever be right here again.
Oh, you know my name?
Of course. You would have known mine one day if...
Well, who are you?
A condemned woman.
What? Who are you?
Who are you, for that matter? You're a stranger, wandering in the wilderness, too. But you're not tortured. You're not lost.
Well, you amaze me.
Mr. Moore is not here. Look. Look, I say.
Why, yes, of course he's here. There he is on the bed.
That is not Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore is gone.
Gone? My dear girl. Wait a moment. What's that on your face, child?
On my face? Tears.
No, not that. That mark on the side of your face.
A mark?
Yes, it seems even to be spreading as I watch it.
A mark? Let me see in the mirror. In the sunlight now with the door open, I can see it. No, it can't be. I'll wipe it off. I'll stock it out. It'll go away. It'll go away. It must go away.
Stop that. Stop it, child. That will do no good.
It'll do no good. It'll do no good. That thing on my face, it will spread and spread. That's a part of my shame, a part of my punishment. No, it must go away. It must. I'll tear it out. It can't be. It can't be. But it is. It is. The mark of the plague.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you The Mark of the Plague. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by speak again the immortal tale, The Queer Client.
Hello, Edward.
What's that? Who? What do you want?
Why, Edward, don't you remember me?
What, Lord love me, Mr. Hiling. Forgive me, Governor, it's been so long. And to turn around and find you standing behind me like that, I didn't hear you come up.
Oh, it's all right, Edward. It's no offense if you mistook me for a ghost.
Well, I wouldn't put it like that, not a ghost. But time has a way with all of us, you know.
Yes, how well I know. How beautiful the countryside is. I'd almost forgotten how peaceful. This was the only thing she asked of life that she ever got. What was it you said, Edward, when I first brought them here? Now, wait, I remember. You said... Oh, what's the matter with me? How could I forget? What was it again, Edward? What was it?
You're tired from your journey, Governor.
I must remember. I can't let my mind go on playing tricks on me. Can't you understand that?
You aren't yourself, sir. Here, up the path a bit, there's a bench. You can sit down. Come along, sir.
I've got it. Yes, I remember now. You said, this is just the place where a soul would want to rest, if it had any say in the matter. Wasn't that what you said?
A wonderful memory, sir. Now, here, you sit down.
No, I must go up on the hill and see them before the sun goes down.
There's plenty of time, sir.
time. Man born of a woman hath but a short time, and is full of misery. Edward.
Yes, Governor?
My soul is black with sin. I lived in a hopeless prison, now and for all eternity. The sin's been there, growing and festering for more than 20 years. It overpowered and possessed me in the darkness of Marshalsea Prison.
Prison?
Yes, prison. Marshalsea Prison.
Oh, but I don't understand, sir.
Oh, you couldn't understand. No one could unless I were to tell the whole story. Let me take you back to the day I paced the floor of my cell, waiting for her to return. Outside, a cold, heavy fog crawled over London like a hideous wet animal. Hours crawled by, and then she stood there, tears blinding her eyes. She lifted the shawl from over the child in her arms.
George, I shouldn't have taken Richard with me this weather. He's been coughing since we left, and he's so sick.
Let me have him, Mary. He's too heavy for you.
Forgive me. I only brought him along because I thought that...
It might melt your father's heart. Well, I see it didn't. Here, the boy's all right. He's just asleep.
Are you sure? His little head is so hot. He's feverish, I know.
Mary, the strain of all this has been too much for you. The child's just warm because you've been holding him so close, that's all. Now let him sleep.
All right, dear.
I take it that your father refused to make me alone under any condition.
Oh, George, it was horrible. I begged him on my knees, but he just sneered. Said you would never be in debt if you weren't careless and indifferent about business.
You don't believe that, do you?
Oh, no. No, darling.
I'm surprised he didn't suggest striking a bargain. The cash, if you'd leave and never see me again. Oh, but no. He'd much rather see me rot here in Marshalsea Prison.
There must be something else we can do. Something we haven't thought of.
Oh, there's nothing, Mary. What would have been but small change in your father's purse was our only hope. We're trapped, Mary.
Well, they can't keep you in this place forever, George. Well, they can't do that to people, can they?
It's been known to happen. Yes, and in the name of 19th century English justice, which makes misfortune a crime.
You mustn't lose hope. I'll work and wait and pray. We'll be together soon. I know we will. And you must have faith and believe that, too. Promise me, George.
If a little wisp of a thing like you can have faith and not be bitter after everything that's happened, I think I can be just as strong.
As long as we love each other, we have nothing to fear, darling. Not even Marshalsea Prison. Nothing to fear.
Nothing to fear but the horrid, stifling monotony of months in Marshalsea Prison, with a hard bed and sleepless nights, with the rotten food and tasteless meals. Rotten food.
I say, I can't eat that mess. It's crawling.
Marshalsea's very best, my friend, and you'd better get accustomed to it. That mess, as you call it, is all you'll get.
It's a wonder the place doesn't come down with scurvy. My name's Dawson, Harvey Dawson. Arrived while you were sleeping.
I'm George Hiling.
How do you do? How long have you been here?
2 months, I believe.
How much have they got you down for?
£500.
Oh, not very spectacular, Hiling. That sum would just about cover the tavern scores I owe. What was your vice? Women? Whiskey?
Business failure.
Oh, that sounds very dull. Tell me, do we have enormous rats here, too, as some of my best friends have informed me?
Yes, we do, Mr. Dawson. Enormous.
Oh, well, one consolation. I'll only have to stay till my good parents decide to meet my obligations. They imagine a short stay here will cure my extravagance.
If it doesn't, nothing will.
Eileen, here's your wife to see you.
Don't let me disturb you, Hiling. I'll stay out of the way.
George.
Mary, what is it? Mary.
I don't know how to tell you.
Richard?
Yes. During the night, I got up to look at him, to see if he was comfortable. You know how his coughing kept him awake. He seemed so peaceful lying there. I put my hand on his forehead. It was cold. Cold.
Murder. That's what it is. They killed him, Mary, just as surely as if they'd thrown him in the Thames. He didn't have a chance. He was sick. He needed food, decent care, doctors. I might have given them all that, but they locked me in here. Murderers.
Don't look like that, George.
Are you asleep, Hiling?
What?
Now look, my good fellow. You go on brooding this way, you'll go mad. Like that poor chap Perkins last month who thought he was King Midas and was turning everything to gold when he touched it.
I must see my wife. I haven't heard from her in 3 days. I've got to go to her, Dawson.
I'll have the servants call you a carriage immediately, my lord.
She's been ill. The same cough the child had.
Oh, hold on. Down there in the prison yard. Isn't that Mrs. Hiling now?
Where?
There, just going in.
Mary.
She doesn't look herself at that.
Oh, but she must be all right if she could walk all the way here.
Of course. Now, straighten yourself up a bit. Try to appear serene and dignified so you won't worry the poor women out of her wits. Play the unconquerable martyr. Dignity now. It's the one unattachable asset of a bankrupt.
Where is she? Why doesn't she come?
Oh, she couldn't very well fly up the stairs, you know.
Oh, here's the tanky now. There's Mary.
You can have it all for now with your...
Mary, I was so worried about you.
George. Darling.
Mary, help me, Dawson. Get her over to the mattress.
George.
I'm here, dear. Don't move.
Where are we?
We're together. That's all that matters.
I know now. Every time I fall off to sleep, I forget. And everything is strange when I open my eyes again. I'm in Marshalsea with you.
Yes, Mary.
But I did get to you, didn't I?
Of course.
Take me in your arms. Please don't look so hurt.
How can I see you suffer and not feel it?
There's no pain. I'm not afraid to die, George.
I won't have you saying such things.
The doctor's told you, hasn't he?
Oh, Mary, life's given you so little.
It gave me you. More happiness than I ever dreamt was possible. If anything hurts now, it's the thought of leaving you. But it's God's will, and you must bear it for my sake.
God's will? Did he will it that I be thrown in prison and our child die for the need of me who could have helped him? And now...
Oh, George, don't let bitterness destroy you. You'll be lost in darkness worse than this prison, 1,000 times worse.
You can't leave me, Mary. No, you shall not die and leave me.
George, help me to the window.
You're too weak.
No, please help me. I must see the sky again. Thank you, George. Let them lay me next to our boy. But swear that when they let you leave here, you'll take us away. Far into the country where we can rest in peace. Some hilltop where it's beautiful and there's nothing but sky above us. Then you can visit us there. We shall be all alone. Safe. And together. We'll do that.
Anything, Mary. And... Mary.
George.
Speak to me, another word. One look, but one. She's gone. She's
gone. Oh. There's Big Ben ringing. And another day. Say, Hiling, have you been standing at that window all night? You can't go on like this, you know. I told you.
Man born of woman hath but a short time to live, and is full of misery. He cometh up and is cut down like a flower. He fleeth as it were a shadow, and never continueth in one stay.
You're wearing yourself out.
Those were the words they read when they put her in the earth. Lost to me forever. In the midst of life we are in death. Of whom may we seek succor but of thee, O Lord, who for our sins are justly displeased. Displeased, Dawson, with the sins of the innocent. It's not fair, Dawson. I'm going to escape.
Don't be a fool. You'll only be caught, and then they'll surely leave you in here to rot.
As God is my witness, I swear that from this hour I shall devote myself to revenging my wife and my son. Henceforth I shall live only for this, My revenge shall be protracted and horrible. My hatred shall be undying and inextinguishable until my father-in-law has lived through the same hell I have known, and worse.
I believe you have gone mad.
Yes, quite mad, Dawson. Mad with anticipation of my hour when it comes. Yes, quite mad. How I escaped, Edward, is not of importance. But once I left Marshalsea behind me, it was all very simple. No one recognized me for George Hiling. No, not the worn, wasted creature that slipped out into the world that night. First I sought out my father-in-law. It was summer, and he was at Midhurst, a watering place, with his son. I wanted this man to know I was abroad, wanted him to know of the fire that now burned within me. I made my way toward the beach where I was told I might find him, and as I approached, I saw a figure in the water, swimming among the waves. Suddenly, with a cry, it disappeared from sight. A man on the beach ran toward the water's edge, and I was at his heels.
Oh, quick, sir! In heaven's name, is my son out there? He's drowning.
You?
My only son drowning before my very eyes. You must... Hiling!
Yes, your worthless son-in-law.
Hiling, my boy, save him. You can. I've wronged you, I know. Have your revenge, but save my boy. He's too young to die.
Well, he stopped struggling against the waves. See?
It isn't too late. Have pity, Hiling.
Listen, old man, I'll have life for life. I need only to stand here and watch, and already I'll have won. Do you remember when you might have lifted a finger to help me?
My son, my boy.
My son died before his mother's eyes when she was helpless to save him. You might have prevented that, but you laughed when she came to you and asked for a loan that was hardly larger than one of your son's gaming debts. Well, what now, old man?
You murderer.
You calling me a murderer? And this is only the beginning. I'm not through with you. When I am, you wish you were out there with him.
He's dead. Gone. I'm all alone now.
That was just fine. His loneliness, like mine, would give him more time to think. Only his thoughts might rest on the plan I had devised for him. Well might he remember that moment and know that never would I rest until I had crushed him. Never would I rest, nor did I so much as pause. Good morning, Mr. Canby.
Oh, yes, you're Mr. Harper.
That's right. I believe this was the time for our appointment.
Yes, won't you sit down?
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Harper, so you've been in South America the last 5 years. I gathered from your letter that you found the business of importing hides very profitable.
Yes, and pleasantly so.
I should say. You see, I took the liberty of looking up your credit at the bank.
Oh, yes?
Merely a formality, but since you suggested I undertake your legal business...
One particular phase of it, Mr. Canby.
Oh.
You may as well know that I have taken the trouble to make inquiries about you.
Well, that should make us open books to each other. An admirable way to begin an association.
I wanted only the best legal aid, and it seems you are the best.
I'm flattered.
I shall be brief. This is no common business, Mr. Canby. You see this packet in my hand? Well, the papers it contains have been scrupulously gathered by my representative here in London while I was away. I had a purpose. One that means everything to me.
Please go on, sir.
It has cost me dearly to buy up these papers. Here, look them over.
Thanks.
They tell their own story at a glance.
Promissory notes, copies of deeds. Yes?
The man whose name you see there has raised huge amounts of money on the strength of those.
May I ask what it is you want me to do?
Well, I'd better explain in detail. There was an unwritten understanding between this man and the persons into whose hands those papers originally went. An understanding that the loans they represent would be renewed from time to time until a given period elapsed.
And you say that no such understanding has been committed to paper?
Yes, precisely. And this man has sustained shocking losses on the exchange during the last few years. If these obligations accumulated all at once, and he had to pay them, he would be crushed to earth. An impoverished, broken wretch.
Oh, and you want me to prevent anything like that from happening?
On the contrary, I want you to make it happen.
I say, Mr. Harper,
I see you think me a queer client. Well, I have my reasons which need not concern you.
Of course, yes.
Then you will proceed at once?
Well, these amount to many thousands of pounds.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Just one detail.
Don't bother me with details. I want you to take every advantage of the law, use every legal trick that you know to reduce this man to ruin. Slow, lingering ruin. Seize and sell his lands and goods, drive him from house to house, then drag him forth a beggar to die in a common jail.
But this detail, sir...
Very well, what is it?
The costs. If the defendant be a man of straw, who's to pay the costs?
I told him to name any sum he liked. It would be his. I wrote a check for the full amount on the spot and then told him I would wait to hear from him for results. It was not long when I held in my hand several very interesting documents. Dear sir, this is to inform you that with the present suit against the defendant, he will find himself completely without resources. Completely without resources, eh? Dear sir, application for a brief indulgence has just been received from the defendant and has been summarily rejected. Land, house, and furniture are on the point of being seized. Indulgence. Dear sir, regretfully I must inform you that today the defendant escaped the vigilance of the officer sent to apprehend him. What's this? No, it can't be. I've immediately assigned agents to undertake a search for the fugitive. Escaped, eh? No, he hasn't. He can never escape from me. Only death can deprive me of the sweet pleasure of seeing him on his knees in the filth of his cell. I instructed Canby that when my father-in-law was found, every drop of influence be brought to bear to see to it that he went to Marshalsea prison. In the meantime, I decided to search for him in my own way. Canby, are you there?
Oh, here I am, Mr. Harper, right here. What is it? Where have you been all this week?
While you and the efficient machinery of the law were busy with your bungling, I found him.
Really?
He's cowering in a pest-ridden lodging in Camden. Yes, and you know, Canby, perhaps it's just as well we did lose sight of him. He's been alone there in the most abject poverty. The woman of the house says she has found him picking over the scraps from the kitchen.
I see.
His apprenticeship for Marshalsea.
Well, we will have to take him into custody tomorrow, of course.
Naturally. No, wait. The next day.
But why?
You're surprised at my wishing to postpone it?
Well, you were so anxious.
I had forgotten something. An element which gives the situation a pleasing dramatic effect. You see, the day after tomorrow is an anniversary in his life. It will be done then.
Very good, Mr. Harper.
I can't wait.
Will you write down your instructions for the officer?
No, let him meet me there with you at 8 o'clock in the evening. You are now looking upon a happy man, Canby.
I wonder.
What's that?
Nothing.
Well, I'll say good night. Remember, 8 o'clock. We shall have done with this business once and for all. His room is right over there, Canby.
But why didn't you let the officer come up and make the arrest?
I want to break the news to the old scoundrel myself. I wonder, could I open his door a little without his knowing it? I should like to see how he enjoys his new environment. Look. There, see him? His head in his hands, staring at the candle. What happy thoughts must be running through his mind?
Who's there?
Wait right here, Canby. I shall be out directly.
Very good.
Good evening. I trust I'm welcome.
Hiling.
Yes.
What now? What fresh misery is this? What do you want here?
A word with you?
Go away. Go away.
You seem to have suffered serious reverses since last we met.
Probably I have your malignant prayers to thank for that.
Prayers? You underestimate me, old man. I did not pray. I acted.
You were behind it all. You brought ruin upon me.
I told you I would not rest until you were crushed.
You're mad. You're not human.
If I'm not, it's you who made me so.
Oh, get out of here! Get out of here!
Not before I have my say. You remember 6 years ago this very day?
Leave me alone.
I claimed the life you owed me for my child's. I said I wanted life for life. But you would have to wait till I had arranged the stage for the second and last act of acquittal. This is it. An officer is downstairs waiting to take you to your new abode. Marshalsea Prison.
No, haven't you done enough? Have pity. I'm an old man. I paid for my sins 1,000-fold.
Plead with the law, old man.
Prison would be the death of me. Hiling, you've had your revenge. This can profit you nothing. If you let them send me to prison, you'll hate yourself more than you hate me, I know.
I have nothing more to do with it.
No, I won't let them take me.
Where are you going?
Look at me. Your last look, because you will not have the courage to look at my broken body in the street below. Let the memory of this moment settle well in your conscience. This shall be my revenge. You've lost, Hiling. My heart,
What kind of ruse is this?
You can't... Get up! You can't touch me now. My heart saved me the trouble.
Well, there's nothing wrong with you, old man.
I'll account to God for my sins. But you must go on. Yes, alone. I wish you a long life. Every happiness.
Mr. Hopper, what's happened?
He's dead. His heart. His convenient heart.
Well, this is most regrettable.
He wished me a long life. Every happiness.
George, don't let bitterness destroy you.
Huh? What was that? Did you hear it too, Canby?
I heard nothing. The shock has unnerved you.
You'll be lost in darkness worse than this prison, 1,000 times worse.
Surely you must have heard it then. Surely...
As your lawyer, I must get you back to London immediately. I assume it's my responsibility to see that your good name isn't connected with the old fellow's death.
He knew he had won. He was laughing at me. His eyes. And it is funny, Canby. Don't you see how funny it is? He's escaped and I'm in prison. The prison of my own conscience. And that's the story, Edward.
I don't know what to say to you, Mr. Hiling.
Oh, there's no need for words. Oh, look, the sun is sinking fast.
Stay here, Governor, with me and the missus. This is where you belong. It's bad for you to be traveling in far-off places when your heart is here.
No, I must go on once more, on till I end life. Would that it be at this place. In the midst of life, we are in death. But that's not for me to decide. Now, Edward, I must go and be with them. Perhaps I shall hear her voice again and she'll forgive me. Who knows? Who knows?
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the immortal tale, The Queer Client. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
Our next broadcast was one of the premier drama programs of the golden age of radio and was subtitled Radio's Outstanding Theater of Thrills and focused on suspense thriller-type scripts, usually featuring leading Hollywood actors of the era. Approximately 945 episodes were broadcast during its long run, and more than 900 still exist. The protagonist was usually a normal person, suddenly dropped into a threatening or bizarre situation. Solutions were withheld until the last possible second, and evildoers were usually punished by the end. We present to you Suspense on HOJO Radio.
Suspense. This is the man in black, here again to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. In our starring Hollywood cast tonight are Mr. John Sutton, who appears as a young English doctor, Jim Norwood, who knew a great deal more than he admitted concerning the strange events which we are about to relate, and Mr. George Zuko, who plays the village curate, the Reverend Arthur Morley. Our story, and it bears none but a coincidental resemblance to H.G. Wells' famous short novel, The Invisible Man, is by John Dixon Carr and is called The Man Without a Body, tonight's tale of suspense. If you have been with us on these Tuesday nights, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series are tales calculated to intrigue you. And so it is with The Man Without a Body and the performances of John Sutton and George Zuko. We again hope to keep you in suspense. A lonely beach of low white sand hills edged by the surf of the North Sea. And back from the beach, drowsing as it has drowsed for 10 centuries, lies the village of Aldbridge in Suffolk. There is the seawall, now defaced by air raid shelters. And there are the rolling grain fields, the thatched white cottages, the spire of St. Luke's Church above the oak trees. Ancient and bell-haunted, lost among hedgerows, this village could never cause consternation in London newspaper offices. And yet, on that warm night nearly 4 years ago...
This time it's really happened. A man without a body, completely invisible.
Copy, boy. Copy, boy. Look at this dispatch. Reign of Terror in Suffolk Village. Has another of H.G. Wells' romances come true?
An invisible man? I can't believe it.
What's the matter with that village? They all gone scatty? Mr. George Wellman, builder, states that as he was returning home along the main road from Bury St. Edmunds...
He distinctly saw a man's hat, without any head under it, moving towards him about 6 feet above the ground.
George must have been full of beer. We can't use this story. Copy, boy! Even more surprising evidence was given by the Reverend Arthur Morley, vicar of St. Luke's Church. Who? The parson? You don't think he was full of beer? One question above all agitates the village. Who is Professor Ansmith? Who is this elderly American, said to be an inventor, who has settled at Aldbridge and leased a part of the house belonging to the local doctor? Out of some terrifying workshop, to strike like a maniac... where least expected, has there at last emerged...
A real invisible man?
The Church of St. Luke, Aldbridge, on that same Sunday evening. The evening service is over now, though an echo of bells still lingers. In the vestry at the rear of the church, where white surplices hang like ghosts, the Reverend Arthur Morley sits with his daughter Janice. It is a stone room of painted windows, now many-colored in the sunset. And here, as the drowsy summer light turns to dusk...
Janice, I don't believe it.
I know, Father.
I saw it with my own eyes, yet I don't believe it. You don't think we were dreaming, do you?
No, Father. We weren't dreaming.
If this goes on, the whole village will be in a frenzy. But what can I do?
We could go to Professor Ansmith and ask him straight out.
Ask him whether he's responsible for these...
Yes.
I wonder, Janice. The man isn't hurting anybody, you know. You couldn't ask for a quieter person or a better neighbor. And yet... What's that?
Father, you are upset. It's only Mr. Emmett coming down from the belfry.
Emmett? Oh, yes, of course. Is that you, Mr. Emmett?
It's me, all right, sir. And very much in the flesh. Did you think I was the invisible man?
Mr. Emmett, I forbid you to mention that subject.
Very good, sir. But there's others, begging your pardon, that do mention it.
Oh, yes, forgive me. I spoke too sharply.
Oh, that's all right, sir. No harm done, no bones broken. Mind you not that I hold with this talk about invisible men. It ain't natural, I say. It ain't hardly Christian. I'm a greengrocer by trade, and I believe in what I can weigh and feel and...
What's the matter, Mr. Emmett? Is anything wrong?
Excuse me, sir. And you too, miss. Do you see anybody in this room except us?
No, of course not. Why?
Because I could have sworn something brushed past me just now.
You're imagining things, Mr. Emmett.
Yes, sir, I dare say,
There's
but...
nobody hidden in the Belfry Tower, I hope.
No, sir. I had a look-see. And what's more, there's not going to be anybody up there once I've locked the door. Now, let the blighter try and get in.
Oh, please, Mr. Emmett. And you too, Father. You're talking about this invisible man as though he actually existed.
There's something funny going on, miss. You can't deny that.
No, none of us can deny it.
And what's more, sir, it's getting pretty dark in here. Hadn't you and Miss Janice better get along to the vicarage while I lock up?
No, we can't go just yet, Mr. Emmett. We're expecting Dr. Norwood.
Dr. Jim Norwood, sir? What does he say about all this?
Oh, you might ask him yourself, Mr. Emmett. I think that's probably him now. Come in. The vestry door's not locked.
Oh, hello, Padre. Hello, Janice. I'm sorry I'm late.
Oh, hello, Jim. You seem a good deal out of breath.
I am out of breath, Janice, because there's blue blazes to pay down in the village.
Not more trouble.
Yes, I'm afraid so. They're holding a mass meeting at the Coach and Horses, and they're ready to murder Professor Ansmith. If this invisible man cuts any more capers, we may see a real old-fashioned lynching in an English village.
Now, look here, my boy. This has got to stop.
I know that, Padre, but how are we going to stop it?
Sit down there, Jim, across the table from me.
Yes, sir.
First of all, what do you know about this Professor Ansmith?
Nothing, sir. Nothing at all.
But you rent part of your house to him.
Oh, my dear Padre, that house is twice as big as I can possibly manage. I was only too glad to get a tenant.
He gave you references, I imagine?
Yes, but I didn't bother to check him. He's a quiet old boy. Pays his rent on the dot. Never does anything except read and go for long walks.
Are you quite sure of that, Jim?
The village has war nerves, that's all. With the camouflage aerodrome in the neighborhood, they're apt to imagine anything.
True, perhaps, but...
That talk about dynamos humming in the old boy's room and blue lights flashing is rubbish out of a sensational film. They imagine the whole thing. Finally, this crazy story about an invisible man playing the gramophone. Why,
It's not a crazy story, Jim. Janice and I saw it happen.
You what?
Last night, about 9:30, Janice and I were out for a walk in the lane that runs past your house. On the way, we met Willie Kendrick, and he joined us.
Well, sir?
Listen, Jim. On that side of the house, there's a little square room with 2 windows and no furniture except a round table and a couple of chairs. Do you know the one we mean?
Yes, of course. Professor Ansmith uses it. What about the room?
It wasn't quite blackout time. The windows were up, the curtains weren't drawn, and the room was brightly lighted. On the table stood an old-fashioned gramophone with a horn and a crank handle. Beside it lay a pair of white cotton gloves, like gardener's gloves. The gramophone was playing away for dear life, but there was nobody in the room. Janice thought that was a bit odd, a gramophone going full tilt with nobody there, and called my attention to it. Just then, the gramophone started to run down. We could hear the record slow and go off key. As it did so...
Well, sir, go on.
As it did so, those white gloves got up off the table.
Got up off the table?
Got up off the table, took hold of the gramophone, and wound it up again.
Mr. Emmett, what on earth are you doing?
I dropped some candlesticks.
So I see. Please pick them up again.
Yes.
Padre, are you serious?
Perfectly serious.
A pair of gloves without any hands inside them?
Yes.
But what did they do exactly?
The left-hand glove steadied the gramophone. The right-hand glove wound it up. Then they both hung in the air, beating time to the music. It should have been funny. I can only assure you it was not funny.
What happened then?
Oh, Jim, it was horrible. Willie Kendrick let out a yell and ran down the lane between the apple trees as though the devil were after him.
I can't say I blame him.
Father and I just stood there and...
Stared is the word, my dear.
Yes, stared. I can't forget any of it. The 3-legged table and the whirling record and the blue flowers on the wallpaper. But there was nobody there. We could see past the table and under the table and all over the room. And there was nobody there.
Except the man without any body.
Confound the man without any body.
Father, suppose it is true.
As a clergyman, my dear, I prefer to remain agnostic. This thing's a trick.
Yes, but how's it done and why?
That's the whole point, Jim. What worries me is the effect on our people here. We call ourselves intelligent, and yet, look at us. Even Mr. Emmett there.
Hey, what's that about me, sir?
A few minutes ago, you thought something brushed past you when you were coming down the stairs from the bell tower. Now, didn't you?
Well, yes, sir.
You see what I mean, Jim?
But I didn't really think so, sir. Not really. It was imagination, just like the doctor said. Because I searched that tower. I locked the door afterwards.
Exactly. But the mere force of suggestion, nothing more, might lead you to believe.
That's not suggestion, Father.
Sir, I'll stake my Bible oath there's nobody in that belfry.
Bells can't ring by themselves, old man. There's somebody pulling the rope up there, and we're going to find out who it is.
Now, one moment, all of you.
What's wrong, Padre? You're as white as a ghost.
This blasphemous mockery, it seems, extends even to the church. Very well. You will stay with Janice, my boy. Emmett and I will collar this invisible man.
Why can't I go, too?
I don't believe in this, but I should prefer to have someone with Janice. You're not afraid, Mr. Emmett?
If it's alive, sir, I'm not afraid of it. And if it's dead, well, you're not afraid of it. The tower door's open, sir. I'm ready.
Don't do it, Father. Don't go.
You can't help them, Janice. Sit down here. Take it easy.
Jim Norwood, what's wrong with you?
Wrong with me?
You've got an odd look, too. And the light's fading. And the surplices look like ghosts. And in another minute, that fell would drive me mad. Suppose he has got in.
Who?
The invisible man.
Oh, don't talk rot.
As there are sounds that the ear cannot hear, so there are colors that the eye cannot see. I read that somewhere. He hasn't hurt anybody yet. But suppose he turns nasty and does hurt somebody.
He can't hurt anybody.
How do you know?
Janice, listen to me. Take my hand.
Oh, but Jim...
I want to tell you a few things you won't understand. I don't ask you to understand. I just ask you to remember.
Well, what is it?
The first is a question. If you were a government official and wanted to find an expert on camouflage, where would you go?
An expert on camouflage?
Yes. And the second point is this. I studied medicine in Germany.
Oh, I know that, but that's
One night on a bet, I hid backstage at the Winter Garden Theater in Berlin. I saw the whole show from backstage, and I learned a great deal.
Jim Norwood, what on earth are you talking
George
about?
Wellman and I have talked the whole thing over. In a way, Janice, there is an invisible man. I can tell you who he is and how he works. But there's no danger, do you understand? There's no danger at all.
Jim, what was that?
I don't know.
You do know. I can see it in your face. You do know.
I think somebody's fallen
Fallen?
from the top of the belfry.
Oh, Father!
Stay here, Janice. You can't do any good.
Let go of my arm. I'm going up there.
No, you're not. I didn't think what the danger might be. Besides, there's somebody coming down the stairs now. Stay just where you are and don't move until...
Oh, Father. Father, are you all right?
Steady, sir. Take it easy now.
I'm perfectly all right, yes. But you'd better go into the churchyard and see to Emmett.
He fell?
No, Janice, he did not fall. He was thrown.
Oh.
Thrown? By whom?
There's no time to argue now. You're a doctor. Go out and see to him.
Well, is he in...
I don't know. Go.
Yes, sir.
For I will work a deed in your days which ye will not believe, though it be told you. Janice, this is incredible.
Why?
You heard the bell ring. I saw it ring.
Without anybody there?
I was as close to that bell as I am to you now. No hand held the rope. There were no strings or wires or any tricks to make it move. Yet it clanged back and forth alone in the tower. And I thought I heard someone laugh.
Laugh?
Oh, don't take that too seriously. We were both overwrought, and the noise of the bell was deafening.
What about Mr. Emmett?
Emmett yelled some words I couldn't hear and lunged for the bell. Then something caught him. Something caught him and gave him a sledgehammer blow in the back. That belfry's nothing but open arches. You heard him scream. I saw his face just before he went over.
Lock the door to the tower, Father. Lock it.
I can't lock it. Emmett has the key. But why should I lock it?
Because he's still in there.
He?
He hadn't done any harm before, but he's done harm now. There's no telling what might happen if he gets loose.
You mean?
I mean Professor Ann Smith's protege, whoever he is. The man without a body.
Under the red sunset, some quarter of a mile away, a grass-carpeted lane winds between rows of apple trees. The lane is dusky, though lights shine into it from the windows of a large stone house, Dr. Norwood's house beyond the apple trees. Up and down, a shadowy figure is pacing. An elderly figure, dejected figure, tall and frail as a shadow among shadows, muttering to itself, shaking its head, now and then raising one fist in bewilderment or anguish. Sometimes the light gleams on large spectacles and a kindly mouth. Up and down. Endlessly up and down strides Professor Ansmith.
I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty. How can I convince them that I'm not guilty? Who's there? I saw you dodge behind that tree. Stand out, sir.
Did you call me Professor Ansmith?
Yes, I did call you. Who are you?
You probably won't recognize me, Professor Ansmith.
Nevertheless, my friend, may I ask what your name is?
My name is Wellman, Professor George Wellman.
Wellman. I've heard that name.
Maybe you have. I'm a builder by trade, and a great friend of Dr. Norwood's.
Wait one moment. Aren't you the young man whose firm is putting up these air raid shelters along the seawall and making such an unholy din with your riveting machines?
That's me.
And come to think of it, aren't you the one who first started this alarm about an invisible man?
Yes, because I met him.
You did not meet him, sir. This whole thesis is scientific nonsense, and I won't have it.
You won't have what?
I'm an old man, Mr. Wellman. I never did anybody the least harm. As God is my judge, I know nothing whatever about this... What's that?
It looks like the vicar's car, Professor. You'd better stand back. This is a pretty narrow lane. Ansmith! Professor Ansmith!
Yes, Mr. Morley, I hear you.
We thought you'd better drive over here straight away. I think you've met my daughter. And, of course, you know Dr. Norwood.
Yes,
but there's no time for any social formalities. Get into your house, Professor Ansmith. Get in quickly and close the shutters.
But why should I do that?
Because there's a mob coming, sir, and we can't stop them.
Hurry, do hurry.
A mob coming here? Why?
Haven't you heard the news?
I've heard nothing, my friend. The only person I've seen has been that young man there who chews a toothpick and hides behind the trees.
George Wellman? What on earth are you doing here?
Watching, Janice. Watching and waiting, just as usual.
Listen to me, Professor Ansmith. Henry Emmett, the head verger at St. Luke's, was thrown from the belfry window not 20 minutes ago.
Not by me, sir, I assure you. I had nothing to do with it.
No, not by you, but apparently by the invisible man.
Oh, Father in heaven, will this never stop?
Not till we catch the fellow. No.
Be quiet, Mr. Wellman, please.
I'm sorry, Padre. I take it back.
I myself can testify that no visible person laid hands on Emmett. He was struck as though with a gigantic fist. What's the matter, Professor Ansmith? Is anything wrong?
No. I was just thinking. Is Emmett dead?
Fortunately, no.
I'm glad of that, my friend, for a certain person's sake.
He's not even seriously hurt. The bell tower isn't high, and a tree broke the force of his fall. But he's badly shaken up. And that crowd at the Coach and Horses means trouble. If you haven't anything to say to us, if you haven't a word of explanation to utter...
Listen, Padre, don't you hear anything?
Yes, I thought I heard voices.
Can't be that crowd from the village. We're too far ahead of them.
It's a crowd, all right. And they've been here for hours.
But where? I don't see anybody.
Jim, look, behind the trees.
Look behind the trees. Look beyond the hedgerows. Look for any place where a watcher can hide.
And may I ask what they're doing here?
They're watching you, Professor Ansmith.
More of your spies, you mean?
You can call them anything you please. But they're getting impatient and they want a showdown. If I as much as hold my hand up like this...
What's that?
Don't throw stones at the windows, you fools! You're only breaking the doctor's windows!
Gentlemen, I can't have any more of this. Be quiet, all of you, and listen to me.
Well, sir, we're listening.
I'm a peaceful man. I like to live in peace with my neighbors. I have nothing to do with this so-called reign of terror. But you don't believe that, do you?
No.
Then I must expose a fraud. Now, don't blame me if I expose the trickster, too. I have made preparations to show you the invisible man. The man without a body.
Quiet, everybody.
Mr. Morley, I believe you and your daughter walked through this lane last night while I was away at the Bury St. Edmunds.
I don't know about your being away, sir. My daughter and I were certainly here, yes.
Good, good. Miss Janice Morley.
Yes, Professor Ansmith.
Will you look toward your right, please, at the house? What do you see?
It's the same room.
What room?
The room with the little round table and the gramophone.
It's a three-legged table, you notice.
Yes, of course.
But there's nobody in the room.
No, nobody at all.
Are conditions exactly as they were last night?
Yes, except there aren't any gloves on the table.
No, but the invisible man is there.
Oh.
A living presence, ready to act and breathe and even kill. With your permission, I shall now address him. Hello in there. Hello in there. Hello in there.
If anybody answers him, Father, I'm going to scream.
Quiet, Janice, quiet.
Father, look. The gloves are appearing on the table.
I call out to him, and I speak as follows. Hold the phonograph with your left glove. That's it. Turn the handle with your right. One turn, 2, 3, 4. That's enough. Touch the spring with your left hand. Push the record. Lower the needle with your right and... Ladies and gentlemen, the Invisible Man.
Hold him off! Hold, you fools! Don't you see?
On the contrary, let them throw all they like. Aim at the table, my friend. Aim at the table.
Why at the table?
Because then they'll see the trick.
I don't follow you. What trick?
The trick of the looking glasses. There. You see now, my friend?
I think I do.
The legs of the table form a triangle with its point toward you. Panels of looking glass are fitted in the two sides facing you.
What do you know about that?
You think you can see under the table, but what you actually see are the side walls of the room reflected in those two mirrors.
Oh, wait a minute. You mean...
I mean that my old servant, hidden behind the mirrors, has just been working the gloves to a panel in the tabletop. It's a very old trick, first shown by Colonel Stadair at the London Polytechnic.
And that's what happened last night?
Yes.
And you had nothing to do with it?
Nothing whatever, nor had my servant.
Then who did do it and why? What is the explanation of all this?
Well, I can't tell you why. That's what beats me. But I can tell you everything else.
This invisible man who's been scaring us all silly?
My dear young lady, there's no invisible man. There never has been.
I might believe that, Professor Ansmith, if I hadn't seen a church bell ringing where there was no hand to ring it. And poor old Emmett flung out of the tower as though a giant hand had got hold of him. You're not saying that was done with the looking glasses?
No, my friend, not at all. That was really clever.
Strings? Wires? Ropes?
No, they weren't necessary.
But the thing's impossible.
Oh, no. The same principle was used by my old friend J.N. Maskelyne to make mechanical figures work. Psycho played whist, and Zoe drew pictures. I myself...
Go on, sir. You yourself... What are you going to say?
The secret I was about to say remains unknown even today. You were right, in a way, when you tell us that Emmett acted as though a giant had got hold of him. A giant had got hold of him. At least, a gigantic force.
Oh, before we all go completely mad, would you mind telling us what this gigantic force was?
Not at all. It was compressed air.
Compressed air?
But don't you see it even yet, any of you?
No.
A compressed air pipe with 1,000 pounds pressure behind it was run up into the tower facing the bell. It could be operated from the ground outside. The pressure was turned on and off in bursts. It made that heavy bell swing like a toy. Emmett, don't you remember? Emmett rushed forwards towards the bell.
And the air pressure?
The air pressure struck him like a sledgehammer and flung him headlong out of the tower. There's your miracle, gentlemen. That's all there was to it.
Sir, I can't doubt what you say. It's too circumstantial and too right.
But what, my friend?
The compressed air tanks. the mechanical apparatus to work this trick.
Well, what about it?
Where did it come from? Such things don't grow on bushes.
No, but they do grow on riveting machines.
Riveting machines?
Yes, such as the riveting machine they're using on the air raid shelters along the seawall. Would you care to tell us, Dr. James Norwood, why you and your friend Wellman have been playing all these tricks?
All of you. Jim Norwood, is this true?
Why, of course it's true, Mr. Morley. Don't be so gullible.
Jim and George Wellman doing all this? I don't believe it.
Take a look at their faces, young lady. Did you ever see a guiltier-looking pair?
So we look guilty, do we?
Frankly, you do.
We played the whole game and convinced the village there was an invisible man. Is that it?
Yes. You worked the glove trick in your own house. And Wellman worked the air trick with his own equipment. Everything else was nothing but a pack of lies and a lot of atmosphere. Playing conjurers and making a blasted hash of it.
Is that all, Professor Ann Smith?
Well, remember, you brought this on yourselves. I didn't want to expose you.
No, Professor. I bet you didn't. Easy, George. Take it easy.
Jim, is this true?
Before you start pitching into me, Janice, let me have my word first. Do you remember what I said to you at the church tonight?
At the church?
Yes, I asked you to remember something, even if you didn't understand it. All right. Can you remember what it was?
Oh, Jim, please. You're only trying to evade this. Oh, I'm so confused now, I don't remember anything. All I can think of is this horrible business and what's behind it. Father can't believe his ears, and I'm not much better. We've practically idolized you. All we want you to do is answer a straight question. Jim, are these accusations true?
Yes, they are true.
Doubtless he had a good reason, Janice. Doubtless he had a good reason.
Yes, we had a good reason.
The very best reason in the world.
You had a good reason for scaring people half to death and trying to kill poor old Henry Emmett?
We didn't mean any harm against Emmett. That was an accident.
But you dare to defend yourself now?
Yes, just that.
Before we go home, Father, shall we apologize to Professor Ann Smith? I hope he'll try to think better of English hospitality.
Good, Janice, good. I hope he will, too.
You hope he will.
Listen, Janice, before you act on any belief, you have to be absolutely sure in your own mind. George and I had to prove something, and now I'm glad to say we have proved it.
Oh, I can't stand this any longer. If you have anything to say, go on and say it straight out. What was it you had to prove?
We had to prove to our own satisfaction that this pretended American who calls himself Professor Ann Smith...
Pretended American?
Who calls himself Professor Ann Smith?
We had to prove that this pretended American was no other than Karl Heinrich von Keist, the celebrated stage magician from the Winter Garden Theater in Berlin.
What?
Whose real job is to find the camouflage aerodrome near Bury St. Edmunds.
No.
He explained his own tricks very nicely, George. We'll swear out a warrant in the morning.
And so closes The Man Without a Body, starring John Sutton and George Zuko. Tonight's tale of suspense. This is your narrator, the Man in Black, who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Tuesday, when the distinguished actress, Miss Agnes Moorehead, will be heard in one of her many brilliant characterizations. Starring with Miss Moorehead will be Miss Ellen Drew, who as Carol Linden tells the amazing story of Uncle Henry's Rosebush. The producer of these broadcasts is William Spear, with Ted Bliss, the director, Bernard Herrmann and Lucian Mahowick, conductor and composer, and John Dixon Carr, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here again to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. Our starring Hollywood cast of characters reads as follows for tonight. As Aunt Julie, one of those stark, severe, and terrifying women who is encountered ever so often along the grimmer outposts of the American countryside, Miss Agnes Moorehead. As Carol Linden, the girl who returned to a scene of childhood happiness and found terror living in the house, Miss Ellen Drew. As Paul, Carol's husband, who had his own ideas as to the explanation of these strange events, Mr. Ted Reed. A first radio play by Larry Roman called Uncle Henry's Rosebush is tonight's tale of suspense. If you have been with us before, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series are tales calculated to intrigue, to stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so it is with Uncle Henry's Rosebush and the performances of Agnes Moorehead as Aunt Julie, Ellen Drew as Carol, and Ted Reed as Paul. We again hope to keep you in suspense.
I shall tell you the story exactly as it happened. There's no use pretending. I'll never forget, and I know I'll not awake and find it all a dream. It's real, and for the rest of my life, I shall know it's real. Paul was to have his first vacation since we were married. I suggested we visit my Aunt Julie and Uncle Henry, who had a small farm upstate. They had always been very kind to me. When I was a child, I used to spend my summer vacations with them. They loved children. I've often wondered why they never had any of their own. Some time ago, I'd lost track of them. They had never seen Paul, and I was certain they'd like to. Paul said it would be fine. We'll surprise them, I thought. We were the ones who were surprised. Just a few more miles, Paul. I remember this road. We used to hike along it going to the village.
This country air is wonderful. 2 weeks of green grass and wicker chairs. I can't think of anything better.
Oh, you'll love Aunt Julie and Uncle Henry. They live alone, quiet and peaceful. It'll be quite a change from the city.
Yeah. Now, they must be happy together.
Oh, they are, but they're lonely.
Smooth lawns and orchards.
And flowers. Uncle Henry planted huge rose bushes around the porch. Every night as I crawled into bed, he used to bring me a rose. They're his favorite flowers.
Vacation, here we come. Come on, car, let's go.
Just around the bend.
Here we go. There it is. Carol, look.
Why, Paul.
Are you sure this is the place?
Yes, but all the weeds and the broken shutters. Looks as though it's been neglected for months. I don't understand.
Yeah, perhaps it's deserted.
Oh, but it can't be. It's their home.
Oh, come on. Let's go up and see. The dirt on this porch must be an inch thick. No answer. Nobody here.
Look, Paul, over there at the end of the porch. The rose bush. Uncle Henry's rose bush.
Why, it's trimmed and neat. It's the only thing that seems to be taken care of.
Oh, then somebody must be here. Maybe they can tell us what happened to Aunt Julie and Uncle Henry. Knock again. Someone's coming.
Well?
We're looking for a Mr. and Mrs. Connors. They used to live... Why, Aunt Julie, I didn't recognize you. But it's me, Aunt Julie. It's Carol.
I wasn't expecting you.
Paul's vacation. We thought we'd spend it here. Well, you've been asking for us for years. This is Paul, my husband.
Carol's told me so much
Why
about
did you come?
What?
I said, why did you come?
Well, aren't you glad to see us? Aunt Julie, something's happened.
Nothing's happened.
Oh, but it did. Tell me, Aunt Julie, we'll help.
Well, of course we will.
You shouldn't have come.
Well, Carol, if she doesn't want us, let's go.
No, Paul. This isn't like you, Aunt Julie. Something dreadful's happened, I know.
Go, Carol. Please go.
Listen, if it's money, Aunt Julie, well, we haven't got too much, but you're welcome to
I
it.
tell you, nothing's wrong.
Oh, but there must be. This house...
You're her husband. I'm asking you to take her and go away.
Oh.
Come on, Carol. We're not wanted. Let's go.
We're going to stay.
Well, there you are. She's your niece, and you know how stubborn she can be.
We're going to stay. Where's Uncle Henry? I say, where's Uncle Henry?
He's not here.
Oh, but where is he?
He's not here. Isn't that enough?
Oh, when'll he be back?
He won't be.
Oh, but Aunt
He
Julie...
won't ever be back.
I stood there bewildered. Aunt Julie had run out of the room. Oh, perhaps she was crying. I don't know. I just knew that Uncle Henry was gone. He had left her. It seemed strangely impossible. They'd always been so happy. So supremely happy that it seemed that the only thing that could separate them on this earth was death. And now this. I couldn't believe it. Paul and I walked into the living room. It was almost as dusty as the outside. The curtains were dirty, the floor littered with old newspapers. The entire room showed the same signs of neglect as the outside. And when I recalled how neat Aunt Julie had always been with her housework, a feeling of apprehension crawled up my back. Frankly, I was frightfully worried, and I could tell by the look on Paul's face that he was worried, too. I don't like it, Paul. There's something strange here.
Yeah. I never saw a house in such a mess.
It's not just the house. It's more than that. Something much more. I'm sure of it.
Well, really, Carol, it's none of our business, don't you?
Well, perhaps not, but you don't know Aunt Julie like I do. She'd never ask for help, no matter how much she needed it. I'm just not trying, Paul.
I suppose you're right.
They've always been so kind to me, I've got to help them.
But how can we, Carol? Why, we don't even know what's wrong.
They were always so happy together. Somehow I can't believe they've broken up. Something else has happened. Something terrible. And I'm going to stay until I find out what.
Well, in that case, we better find a place to sleep.
All the bedrooms are upstairs. Come on.
Right. Wow. Look at the dust on the banister. I bet this place hasn't been cleaned in a month.
Paul.
Huh?
Did you see the way she looks?
Yeah.
Gee, her face seems completely wrinkled with worry. No wonder I didn't recognize her. She seems much older and frightened.
Well, do you think she's ill?
I don't know. I wish I did.
Wow, look at that hall. Gloomy and dirty. Where do these doors go to?
Well, that one's to Aunt Julie's room, and this one's Uncle Henry's. The one across the way is the spare. I guess that's ours.
Well, let's go in. Wow. What a mess.
Well, might as well get busy cleaning.
Yeah, there's nothing like a good round of house cleaning before supper.
Paul, so long as Uncle Henry's not here, maybe we can take his room. It's got an adjoining door to Aunt Julie's, and then in case she needs us, we'll be near.
Okay. It doesn't matter to me which room we clean. Let's go.
Here. It's this one over here. Well, this is... Paul, look. It's all clean and neat.
Well, I'll be darned. It's the only clean place in the whole house.
I don't understand. Every room is inches in dirt, except this one. The outside is completely neglected.
Except the rose bush.
Uncle Henry's room and Uncle Henry's rose bush. I don't get it.
Well, look, on the dresser there. Aunt Julie's picture and a pipe and tobacco.
Why, that's Uncle Henry's favorite pipe.
Drawers full of shirts, socks, underwear. Carol, if your uncle went away, why did he leave this?
I don't know.
Strange, but...
What's that paper, Paul?
Why, it looks like... It is an insurance policy for $30,000 payable to your Aunt Julie in case Uncle Henry dies. Carol,
what are
this
you
is...
two doing here?
Aunt Julie,
What are you doing here?
Well, we thought that
What's that in your hand?
An insurance...
Give it to me.
But
and keep out of this room.
Well, we didn't need any
car.
I didn't know how to take this. Uncle Henry's pipe and all his clothes were still in his room. And yet, Uncle Henry was gone. And I couldn't understand why Aunt Julie got so angry. I looked to Paul for an explanation. I could tell he had something on his mind, but I didn't dare ask him what it was, and he didn't say. After Aunt Julie's outburst, we went back to the spare room and cleaned it. Then we washed and started downstairs for supper.
Watch your step, Carol. These aren't the strongest-looking stairs.
I'll be all right. Paul, what do you make of Aunt Julie's behavior?
Frankly, Carol, I'm worried.
I'm frightened. May as well admit it. There's something strange here that frightens me to death.
Well, I don't think there's anything to be frightened of. It's just that... Oh, there, that's the last step.
This way to the kitchen.
Right. No, as I was saying, I don't think there's...
Look out, Carol!
Well, that was close. That vase just missed you.
A vase?
Yes, and it was a heavy one. The one at the top of the stairway.
Oh, if it would have hit me.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul, I'm frightened.
Look, coming down the stairs.
What happened?
The vase fell. Just missed Carol.
Oh, don't worry about it. I didn't like the vase anyway.
The vase? What about Carol? She almost got killed.
Never mind, Paul. It was an accident.
An accident?
We were just going in for supper, Aunt Julie. Care to join us?
Well,
Oh, come on, Aunt Julie. It'll do you good.
Oh, all right.
Here. You two sit right down. I'll have something prepared in a minute.
I'm not very hungry.
Oh, nonsense, Aunt Julie. I'll fix something that'll make your mouth water.
You know, when Carol and I get through cleaning this place up, it'll look just like new.
Yeah?
Sure. I think when Carol and I have a family, we'll take them to a farm.
Really?
Yes. You know, this place would be swell for children.
Oh, what do you mean?
What did I say? What's the matter?
What's the matter with Aunt Julie? Where's she going?
I don't know. I was just trying to make conversation. Just talked about children on a farm, that's all.
Oh, Paul, I'm frightfully worried. Do you think we ought to call a doctor for her?
I don't know.
We have to do something. She certainly doesn't look too well.
But maybe she isn't really sick.
What do you mean?
Well, maybe if your Uncle Henry did leave her, well, then maybe...
You mean she still loves him?
It's possible, but...
Oh, but you don't really believe it.
Oh, Carol, I don't know what to believe. I just know something's wrong.
Uh-huh. I'm not hungry, Paul.
Me either.
Let's go for a walk. Maybe we can figure something out.
Country's so peaceful and beautiful in the night.
Yes, it is. I wish you could enjoy it.
But I can.
Oh, don't try to fool me. Your first vacation in years, and you run into this.
Well, we have to help her.
Of course.
But how? Yes, we don't even know what's wrong. She not only won't tell, but we can't get near her long enough to talk to her.
Suppose Uncle Henry really did leave her. He may have gone off in a huff. That would account for the clothes being here.
Well, perhaps.
And suppose she still is in love with him. Well, that would account for...
But even if that's so, could that make her feel so badly? Make her act like this? Not talking, neglecting everything?
Everything except his room and his flowers.
I don't know.
A woman's love is a strange thing. If you left me, I don't know what I'd do.
Well, if that is the case, the thing to do is to make her forget.
That won't be easy.
No, I don't imagine it would be. But suppose we take her to the city with us until she forgets.
Well, we could ask her at least.
Yeah. Yeah, come on. Let's go find her.
Oh.
Hey, watch out. You almost fell.
I tripped. I'm all right. Look, Paul.
What?
Look what I tripped over.
It's a mound of freshly dug earth. Well, what's that for?
Paul, it looks like a grave.
Oh, don't be silly. Why, it's just a... Forget it. Come on, let's find Aunt Julie.
Paul, that...
Forget it. Say, what's that building over there?
That's the barn. There used to be a swell old cow there with a bell around her neck and chickens and ducks and all sorts of pets.
Yeah, this must have been a happy place.
It was. But now... Paul, standing by the barn, it's Aunt Julie. Come on, let's ask her now. Aunt Julie!
What you doing? Following me?
How could you?
Well, it was a nuisance.
Oh, Aunt Julie.
Oh. A cat. With its neck wrung.
This was the first indication of Aunt Julie's ruthlessness. It seemed so unlike the Aunt Julie that I knew. She was always kind. But there was no mistaking the anger in her eyes as she stood there in the dim moonlight, the strangled cat in her hands. She killed it, she said, because it was a nuisance. If she could do that, what else was she capable of doing? Paul and I went into the house. We went upstairs and put the finishing touches in our room and went to bed. I couldn't sleep. And as I watched the moon make its slow, solitary way across the heaven, I kept thinking, Paul and I are also a nuisance. Paul and I are also a nuisance. Toward midnight, I became drowsy and was just beginning to fall off to sleep when I heard footsteps in the hall. Paul.
What?
Paul, wake up.
What is it?
Shh. I hear footsteps in the hall.
Footsteps? I don't hear anything.
There. Hear it?
Yeah.
Must be Aunt Julie.
Oh, what would she be doing up this time of night?
I don't know, but who else could it be?
Well, I'll go see.
I'm coming with you.
Now, quiet. Don't put on the light. I can't see. Oh, yes. Now I can. It is Aunt Julie. She's walking down the hall. I think she's coming this way. Quiet. Shh. I think she's... What's she got in her hand?
Looks like a scissors.
Scissors?
Yes.
What would she be doing with... Carol, she's coming this way.
Oh.
Get back in bed, quick.
What?
Get in bed. All right, now, quiet. She went out.
What?
Yeah. She just looked in and left.
Do you think she knew we were awake?
I don't see how.
Let's follow her.
All right. Where's my other slipper? Ah, there. All right, come on. She's going downstairs. Come on, and be quiet. I think she's going outside.
Let's go.
Not so fast. Give her a chance to get out. There, she's out. Come on.
Look, Paul. She's cutting a bunch of roses off the bush.
She's taking them around to the back of the house. Come on. Here. Now get down behind this bush.
Look, Paul.
She's going over to that mound and placing the roses on it.
Paul. Shh. But, Paul, it looks like...
Quiet, Carol. She's kneeling beside it. Now she's getting up and coming back. Get down. She's gone.
Paul, do you know what that is?
I got a pretty good idea.
Uncle Harry's roses with Uncle Henry's grave. I said it. I said it without thinking. Of course, we had no way of knowing Uncle Henry was dead. We had no way of knowing that was Uncle Henry's grave, or that it was a grave at all. But at that moment, stooping behind the bush in the blackness of the country, we felt it, not knowing why. Paul and I went back to our room as quickly and as silently as possible. Needless to say, we didn't sleep anymore. We just kept looking at each other, asking ourselves questions, trying to analyze our feelings. Soon we could see the streaks of dawn coming up over the treetops, and we slept the early morning hours trying to convince each other that our thoughts were ridiculous. Frankly, I don't think we succeeded. Finally, we decided not to mention it, to go on with the cleaning the next day as we'd planned, to make believe nothing had happened until we had proof. That day we spent cleaning, and all day Aunt Julie was nowhere to be seen. Yet I had a strange feeling that someone was watching our every move. Toward evening, Paul and I sat down for a bite to eat. More coffee?
Oh, thanks.
I wonder where Aunt Julie is.
I don't know, Carol. That's a strange aunt you've got.
Yes. Paul, look. The window.
What is it?
I thought I saw someone looking in.
What? There's no one there now.
But I'm sure I saw...
Probably just a shadow.
Yes, I'll be just a shadow.
You're on edge, Carol.
I'll be all right. Finish your coffee. I'll start cleaning the bathroom. We'll both work on the kitchen. And I'll take care of the downstairs.
All right.
Paul, you look worried.
You know, this whole crazy business.
Let's not talk about
But putting roses on a... I'm sorry, Carol. It's you I'm really worried about. If something should happen to you, I'll never forgive myself.
Nothing will happen. I'll finish your coffee. I'll start cleaning the bathroom.
Okay, Carol. I won't be long.
Mm-hmm. Well, it isn't too bad. There's the sink. Some hot water. There, that's it. The wash rag around the sink bowl. Oh, dear. Just the wind. Guess I'm getting jumpy. This place won't be half bad when it's clean. The medicine chest. Clean the mirror. And the shelves. Oh. What? Oh, Paul? Paul?
What is it, Carol?
Come here.
What is it, Carol? What's the matter?
Look. Here in the medicine chest.
Where? It's a hypodermic needle.
What would a hypodermic needle be doing here?
Well, it's not likely to be here for nothing.
Look, alongside of it. A bottle of... What's it say?
I can't read it.
It's awful-looking stuff. Open the bottle.
All right. That cork's in tight. There. Oh, nauseating. Stuff like that would kill a person.
Paul, it's not a joke.
I'm sorry, Carol.
Do you really think Aunt Julie...
I don't know.
Oh, it can't be, Paul. It can't be.
Maybe not, but we better find out. And quickly, Carol. There's one more thing to do. I'm going to see if that's really Uncle Henry's grave. I'm going to dig it up.
Oh, Paul, you can't.
Don't you see? I have to. If it is, we're in danger.
Of course.
I'm still not sure that falling vase was an accident. We have to find out about this business once and for all.
Well, I'm coming with you. We walked out toward the back of the house. And through my mind flashed the succession of events. The neglected house, Aunt Julie's insistence that we leave, the roses, the grave, the insurance policy, and now the hypodermic needle and that infernal oil. All the evidence pointed to but one conclusion. I couldn't believe it, and yet there it was, motive and method. And now we were going outside to dig up the last remaining evidence.
Well, this is it, Carol. Sure you want to watch?
Well, I won't stay in this house alone.
And look at the beautiful roses around it.
Hurry up, Paul. Let's get it over with.
Okay. Here goes. I never thought I'd turn into a grave digger. This dirt isn't packed tight. Easy to dig.
It's getting dark.
Yeah. Oh, I think I'll run in and get a lantern. I'll be right back, Carol.
All right. Every one of those lengthening shadows looked like a ghost. It gets dark quickly in the country. I was afraid, but I knew Paul would be back in a minute. I picked up the shovel and began to dig. Oh, there. That's better. That's so nervous. I'm working. Is that you behind me, Paul? Bring the lantern closer. Gee, it's so dark. Paul, I... Look at Henry!
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing to my grave? Put it back. Put it back. Oh, my flowers, my beautiful flowers, my lovely roses. You've hurt them. You've hurt my roses, and I won't let you. I won't.
Keep away. Keep away, Uncle
I won't
Henry.
let you hurt my roses. My sweet, delicate roses.
Take your hands away. Take them.
You broke them. You killed them.
Stop it. Stop it, Henry.
I'm going to kill her
Stop
just
it.
as she did my roses.
Stop it. Take your hands away.
Kill her.
Henry.
Kill her.
Henry.
Oh, forgive me, Henry. I didn't mean... Are you all right, Carol?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I think so.
What happened? What?
Uncle Henry?
Aunt Julie saved my life, Paul. And we thought she... Oh, can you ever forgive us, Aunt Julie?
You didn't know.
Then
You
he
didn't
wasn't
know.
Dead at all?
No. No, he wasn't.
Oh, I don't understand.
He was living in his room all the time, Carol. I was taking care of him. When you two insisted on staying here, I kept him out of sight. Oh, I didn't want to kill him, but I had to. He would have killed Carol.
Aunt Julie.
Oh, if you only had left when I asked you to. But perhaps it's better this way. He never got that violent before. I could always take care of him. The hypodermic needle and the sedative calmed him when he got a little wild, but then when I saw him strangle the cat, I knew he was getting completely out of hand. Yes, it's better this way. He's better off dead.
Poor Uncle Henry.
The grave and the roses were a whim of his. A whim. And look, he fell right in his own grave.
And so closes the story, Uncle Henry's Rosebush, starring Agnes Moorehead, Ellen Drew, and Ted Reed. Tonight's tale of suspense. This is your narrator, the Man in Black, who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next week, same time, when we will present another flowery bouquet of suspicion and terror and a homicidal maniac at large. Only this time, the roses will be white. The story will be The White Rose Murders by Cornell Woolrich. The tale of a killer who trademarked his crimes by leaving a white rose on the victim. Our star will be Maureen O'Hara. The producer of these broadcasts is William Spear, with Ted Bliss, the director, Bernard Herrmann, and Lucien Mahowick, conductor and composer, and Larry Roman, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Our next broadcast brings together everything that was good about old-time radio rolled into one. The title itself almost sums up the very essence of what radio drama is all about. Each of the episodes was a microdrama, carefully planned to capture the listener's attention. Over 200 episodes were made, and almost all of them are as good today as they were over half a century ago. For the first few years the series was on air, the announcement at the start of the show varied almost every week, but by the 1950s, it had settled down to be the now famous, tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape on HOJO Radio.
You are alone in the dark forest, and behind you somewhere is a werewolf waiting to drink your blood. And you desperately desire the impossible. To escape.
Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and carefully plotted to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to the backward world of Eastern Europe, where ancient superstitions still live in the minds of men. Tonight we escape with Geoffrey Household's grim story, Taboo. Among semi-civilized peoples, there has always been widespread belief in werewolves. Those fantastic creatures supposedly able to turn from man or woman into wolf and back again at will. This belief is still widespread among the simple folk of eastern Hungary, in the district around Zweibergen, high in the gloomy Carpathian Mountains. And I must admit, not without some reason. Before the late war, I often spent my vacations in that area, drawn to the dark loneliness by the pool of my Slavic blood. It was the same with her, perhaps, and our kindred ancestry no doubt drew us together.
Her name was Kira Vaughan, and she was there with her husband, pleasant young Englishman. They were obviously much in love, and I felt almost like an intruder when I found myself the only other vacationer in the village. However, they made me welcome and invited me to dinner. It was an excellent dinner.
Won't you have some more strawberries, Mrs. Sirabi?
Oh? Thank you, no, Mrs. Vaughan. I've eaten far too much already. I cannot say when I've had so excellent a dinner.
Thank you.
I'm sure I shall get nothing like it at the inn.
I should hate to have to stay at the inn.
See, Sir Avias, my wife is one of those delightful creatures who cannot stand to be shut in. She must run free, preferably in the woods, with her hair streaming in the wind. She's quite unusual.
Indeed she is, my dear Vaughan. And you may count yourself most fortunate.
Oh, I do. Where else did I find so good a cook?
Oh, very true. I've never tasted venison quite like that tonight. Delightful.
Thank you.
Another of her little victories. She delights in outdoing the ordinary housewife. She disdains the village shop and gets her meat right off the hoof.
Oh? You do your own hunting?
Oh, dear, no.
Not that. She's much too kind-hearted and loving a person for that. Try a new source. The district game warden brings fresh venison to our door.
Oh, it's not he, but his son.
True. The game warden's slightly moronic son, who is, I'm sure, in love with her.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Oh, not so. It's quite understandable. I'm beginning to fall in love with her myself.
You see, my dear.
Thank you, sir.
Seriously, though, I can understand this wild desire to be free. This wish to, as you put it, run in the woods with the wind in your hair. It is some legacy of our Slavic blood, no doubt. Yours and mine and the game warden's moronic son. Somehow we feel at home in these dark forests.
Oh, you too.
Yes.
And I don't. I confess it, I don't. There's something here that frightens me. Something strange and inhuman and taboo.
Darling.
I'll confess something, Kiraviet. I don't like Kira to go out into these forests alone. Maybe I'm afraid that someday this emotional impulse of hers will get the better of her and she'll just disappear. Like those two men last week.
Oh? What was that? Have I missed some exciting happening?
No, not really. No, you'd think so to hear the villagers talk. A fellow coming home through the woods after dark just disappeared. Probably got fed up with life here in the village and lit out for Budapest.
And, what about the other one?
Oh, yes. Well, a search party went out the next day to look for the fellow. When they got back, they found their party was missing. Evidently, he'd taken the opportunity to skip out, too.
Is that what you really think?
Oh, why not, my dear? If those men had been done away with, it might have been by something supernatural. And there's no such thing.
But might it not have been some wild animal?
Oh, the bears around here are harmless and the wolves are not in packs. At any rate, there would have been some sign, some blood, track, something. There was nothing. They simply disappeared, vanished, skipped out.
Richard, how can you be so careless?
You see the paradox? My wife, who loves the woods, believes the fantastic tales of the villagers. I, who confess to finding the woods strange and frightening, do not believe them.
Perhaps it is because you are frightened that you are afraid to believe them. What do the villagers say?
Well, you know this district well enough. Talking of werewolves and such tommy rot. Oh, it's utterly fantastic.
Yes, to you, an Englishman, it would be.
And it isn't to you?
Fantastic, yes, I suppose. But perhaps Mrs. Vaughan and I, who feel at home in this forest, can understand and believe such fantasy a little more easily than you.
Yes. I remember many times as a child. I dreamt of being an animal. I thought then that I would love it. The freedom of the forest.
Exactly. That primitive instinct is so deep within us all. A heritage of some dim, distant past. In us Slavs, it lies closer to the surface. It takes very little to bring it to light.
Yes, it is true.
Well, you've placed my wife in a new light, Sir Albert. You have me suspecting her of changing into a wolf and running out to the forest to murder people.
Oh, please, Vaughan. You take me too literally. And besides, it is a shame to spoil so delightful a dinner with so gloomy a conversation.
Right. Can we go into the living room? There's a cheerful fire in there. Oh, yes? What is it, Frida?
Beg your pardon, sir. But a message just came from the village.
Oh? What is it?
They want you and Mr. Seravius to come down there in another search party.
What?
Yes. There's another man missing.
Kira! Dr. Seravius. She's fainted.
It was only then I realized that these people were under a terrible tension. I was to learn very quickly that the whole village shared it. Every able-bodied man in the district was at the inn when we arrived. The magistrate explained the situation.
The grocer. He went into the forest late this afternoon hoping to bag a blackcock for his supper.
A little after dusk, a solitary shot was heard. That was 3 hours ago, and he has not returned. But only 3 hours? Isn't there a chance that he might still return? A chance, perhaps, but the other two did not. It will do no harm to search for him. We may still be in time to save his life.
We searched most of the night, and the next morning, John and I went out again. We climbed to my favorite spot for hunting blackcard, then followed the trail down to the village, the trail the missing grocer would have taken. I was beginning to be a little exasperated at Vaughan. He seemed to be so casual and uninterested, as if he were convinced that this one, too, had merely skipped out. But I underestimated him. He was a skilled tracker, and suddenly he did show some interest.
Wait a minute. Someone has turned aside from a path here. He's in a hurry. I wonder why.
I think you are right. There are some broken branches.
Why? Why here?
It's hardly likely anyone would go plunging into that thicket unless he had a reason.
Wait. See that big white rock behind the thicket? When you're being followed, it's comforting to have a clear space around you. You'd feel safe up on top of that rock with a gun in your hands, if you got there in time.
You may be right. Let's go up.
Shadow.
We forced our way through the underbrush to the rock. It was 30 feet high on the downslope side, and a hot spring at the foot of it bubbled out of a cavity scarcely 2 feet wide. We made our way up to the slope, around it, and came out on top. There was nothing there except for some ivy in the cracks, and one small stunted tree.
Aha! Look at that.
Where?
The tree. The entire base has been shattered by a charge at close quarters. Perhaps that was the shot that was heard.
You're right, it must be. They say there's always a tree between you and it.
What do you mean, it?
The werewolf.
Well, this must have been a baby one then. That mark is only 6 inches off the ground. No. I think the man's gun went off as he fell. Perhaps he was followed too close as he scrambled up. About here would be where his body would have fallen.
Do you see anything? I don't. No blood stain.
Yeah, well, wait. Look here.
Oh, but it's just a tiny spot.
It's enough. It's blood, all right. And something more. A tiny bit of tissue.
Let me see. Yes. Brain tissue. Must have come from a deep wound in the skull, made by something like an arrow or a bird's beak. Or maybe even a shot. When we brought our information back, the excitement of the village mounted. The peasants crossed themselves, and at the inn, the old tales were being told.
That's old Weiss, the game warden, talking now. And Joseph Weiss, his son, beside him.
The moronic son.
Yes, the old man is a character, too. Listen.
This is one my grandfather's seen. He followed him in the forest. Time after time, he met at the twilight outside his cabin. And time after time, he fired at it point blank. But he couldn't hurt it. Then he founded a silver pen and loaded his gun with. One shot and the wolf disappeared. The next day, they found Heinrich the cobbler dying in his house with a beaten silver coin in his belly.
Joseph, you believe such stupid talk?
Joseph!
My grandfather used to tell the same story. Only when he told it, it happened to his grandfather. Anyone can see it didn't happen at all. But things can't happen.
Joseph, you call your father a liar?
I do.
Well, far from being a moron, Joseph seems to have more sense than the others.
Perhaps. Joseph, you're not afraid of this werewolf, then, eh?
No.
Why not? The whole village is frightened.
I'm used to walking alone in the woods at night. You've got to be a part of the forest, then you'll not be afraid of it.
You do believe in werewolves, then, eh?
Don't say a man can turn into a wolf, no. But I can understand why he'd want to.
Your theory again, Sir Abject.
Yes. I think I understand that too, Joseph. But what does it feel like?
It feels as if the woods had got under your skin. And you want to walk wild and crouch at the knee.
Yes. I think he's perfectly right.
And you explain it by some primitive urge?
Possibly. There may be many reasons. Physical hunger could be one. We sometimes forget that man was once a fleet-footed hunting animal with all the necessary instincts.
Hunger? Ah, yes, we all know about that. About what it can do to a man.
I've been trapped in a cliff for 5 days, I know.
None of you have suffered hunger as we did in the prison camp during the war. None of you knows what it is to eat.
Joseph, let's not talk about it. He gets so upset remembering.
Well, we'll have to go on searching for the body and for the werewolf.
You'll not find. Not until you arm yourselves with silver bullets.
Perhaps it's gone now, whatever it is. The search parties may have frightened it away.
It wasn't frightened by the first search party. It simply took one of them. Now it is still here. And it will strike again. You may be sure of that.
The whole village believed that Joseph Weiss was right. They traveled in the woods by twos now. No one went alone. For a week, village life was disrupted. The men beat the forest. The women tried to comfort each other. Kira wore herself out trying to be useful. The village women could not help loving her. But there was something else. Something strange. One day I spoke to Frida, the maid, about it.
Ah, yes, she is a strange one, Mr. Saridia. Even I have seen her going out to walk alone in the woods at twilight. The women in the village think she is possessed.
What do you mean, possessed?
I hesitate to say it.
Come, tell me.
They are beginning to say sometimes the werewolf can be a woman.
At first, the suggestion seemed so ridiculous to me that I hesitated to speak of it. But then I decided to tell Vaughn before this rumor could reach Kira herself. She was actually much upset.
That settles it, Smith. We've got to do something.
Something, yes, but what?
There's only one thing we can do. Track down this posed werewolf.
But that's what we've been trying to do for a week. How can we
It's really very simple. We'll offer him bait.
Bait? Who will be this bait?
You and I, Saradia. It's a game.
Why, yes, of course I'm game.
Good.
But how? Are you going to tie me to a tree and watch out with a gun?
That's about right. Only we didn't tie you up. And since it was my idea, you can have first turn with the gun. Are you a good shot?
Right.
This is no time for false modesty.
Yes, I'm a good shot.
Very well. It'll be night, and we'll have to shoot with only the moonlight.
Where do we go? To the rock?
Exactly. And the sooner the better. Tonight?
Tonight.
And say nothing, absolutely nothing, to anybody. Especially to Kira.
I understand. This is between us. Either we win, or we simply disappear. It was difficult getting away without telling Kira what we were going to do. She seemed to sense that something was wrong, and she sat staring after us with strange, angry eyes. In the village, Vaughn and I parted and made our ways to the rock separately. I reached there first and settled myself on top of the rock, almost covered by the ivy, the gun across my knees. Presently, Vaughn appeared on the path, and I gave the signal that I was there and ready. The trap was set. In the eerie stillness of the dark forest, we waited. Vaughn paced slowly on the path. I kept the gun tight trained a yard in back of him as he walked. Minutes passed in silence. Hours went by. Nothing happened. It was almost midnight, the end of our vigil. Vaughn waved his hand and started off down the trail. He would go fast in case he was followed, taking a shortcut down an old timber slide. He'd be in the village in 10 minutes. I was to follow presently. And then suddenly I got an intense feeling of dread. I was alone on the rock. My spine tingled, and then I heard a quick rustle in the ivy behind me. Something brushed my face. It was only a bird. A night bird had lit in the ivy and now swooshed past me and flew away. My nerves were still tingling when I got back to the village. Next day, when I went to see Vaughn, he gave me a warning glance. Kira was suspicious. I could see the question in her eyes when she greeted me.
Oh, here is the other culprit. Which of you is most to blame for keeping such late hours?
I'm supposed to keep peace in the family. I should say it is I.
No, you can't get him off that easily.
I'm the only culprit, my dear. You see, I've never hunted deer at night. I asked Sarabiev to help me.
I suppose you shoot the poor things while they sleep.
Oh, no, while they have had dinner, if possible.
So cruel and heartless, both of you.
Oh, it's no use letting her start an argument, Sarabiev. I'll go get us a drink.
Oh, yes, thank you. I'd like that. Why do you look at me like that?
Was the hunting good last night?
No, not very. We didn't get anything, as you see. I'm afraid you'll still have to depend upon Joseph for your venison.
Where did you hunt?
Simply in the forest. Nowhere in particular.
You're not telling me the truth, are you?
My dear, I don't know what you're thinking, but I assure you...
Oh, never mind. I suppose it is best I don't know. But take care of him, please.
Of course I will.
If anything should happen to him.
But what could happen?
You know. You understand these things.
That night, I was the bait. And I confess, walking there on the moonlit path, the dense undergrowth pressing close on both sides, the forest all around me, that I felt a strange terror. But nothing happened. Once a bear ambled across the path, paused, sniffed, and disappeared into the brush. Then a little later, I thought I saw a flicker of white in the clearing below, but it never reappeared, and I decided it must have been a ripple of grass in the moonlight. At midnight, we returned to the village, and I was beginning to wonder if our trap would ever be sprung.
We must keep on, Sarabiev. I have a feeling that tomorrow night, perhaps, or the next night...
I'm game as long as you are, but so far we've only lost sleep.
I've got to keep on. Have you forgotten about Kira? The things they're saying about her?
No, of course not, but surely these people would not do anything to her.
It's not that. It's what it might do to her spirit that she can hear those insane rumors. She's so sensitive. I don't like to think about it.
Then, shall we go out again tomorrow night?
Yes. You must come to dinner, though, first. Weiss is bringing down more venison. Kira will want you to come.
All right. Till tomorrow night, then. After dinner, we went out for our third night on the rock. Vaughn was the bait tonight, and I the watcher. The forest was alive with sound. A deer coughed. The bear came ambling back as woolly and harmless as a dog. I was watching him when suddenly he paused and sniffed the air, then disappeared into the trees. The animal sounds quieted one by one, and tense stillness fell over the forest. My hand tightened on the gun, and suddenly I saw it. That flicker of white moving fast through the trees. It was coming up the path toward Vaughn, a soft, bulky white blur, coming surprisingly fast. Vaughn's back was turned. He did not see it. My finger tightened on the trigger. It was only a few yards away when he turned.
Kira!
I started to press the trigger.
No, Kira, no! Kira, what are you doing here?
Oh, darling, I was looking for you. I looked last night, too. Oh,
Kira, you shouldn't have. It was foolish, terrible.
But you said there was something else in my nose. That's why I was running.
Kira, you shouldn't be out here alone.
Well, what about you? Where's Siravia?
She's up there on the rock, covering me with his rifle. I'm sure to be straight. I'll show you. I'll hold out my handkerchief like this. Now, Siravia, put a hole in that.
I stared for a moment at the white square of handkerchief, then at the white of her coat. My lips were dry. My finger felt numb on the trigger.
Come on, Siravia, the handkerchief.
Please, God, don't let me miss.
There, you see, my dear?
They went down the path together, and I followed after a moment. 100 yards from the timber slide, I knew I was being followed. Even before I heard something in the brush behind me, I stopped and turned around. Moved past me, cutting off my retreat. Now I stood alone in terror, but it was still in the brush. If only I could make the timber slide. I got down safely. I went straight to Vaughn. He came out of the house to talk to me. I told him what happened. His reaction surprised me.
Siravia, I'm sorry I had to leave you up there to face it alone, but I had to bring her down.
Of course, I know that.
And you must believe this. She never left me. We came down together, arm in arm. He came straight down. You must believe that.
But of course, why should I think differently?
Then you must realize, whoever it was up there in the brush following you, it couldn't have been Kira.
Good heavens, Vaughn. Do you think I believe that preposterous story?
Well, didn't you? Even up there on the rock, when you hesitated about firing at the handkerchief, didn't you believe it might be Kira?
No. Why, no, of course not. But I did. Vaughn knew my thoughts almost better than I knew them myself. Yes, that was why my lips were dry and my finger numb when I pressed the trigger. I had refused to admit it even to myself. And now was I sure, even now. That night, Vaughn was excited.
We're going to get it tonight. After last night, we'll be there waiting for us.
Yes, I think you're right. But if you are, we wouldn't want anyone else to come walking in on us. It might cause confusion.
Don't worry. Kira has promised to stay at home. She says we're doing our duty and she won't interfere. Do you think this is our duty?
No.
Neither do I. I never feel that anything I enjoy can be my duty. And now, I really enjoy this. Tonight, I'd like to be the bait.
No, it's my turn. I won't give it up. Besides, if it's the revenge you want, you have the gun.
That's so. All right, then. Tonight, you'll be the bait.
That night, for the first time, I regretted ever getting into this mess. I paced up and down the path. My nervousness grew. Tonight, it would surely come. I felt it. But would Vaughn shoot straight and quick enough? The hours went by. Clouds kept scudding over the moon, leaving me in deep darkness for minutes at a time. I was really beginning to be frightened. Then a fraction of a second before it happened, I knew it was coming. There was a hot breath on my neck, a crushing weight on my shoulder, something hard against my skull, and the crack of Vaughn!
Are you all right?
Yes, I think so. What was it?
A man. Hurry, come on. I'm going in after him.
All right, I'm coming. Vaughn, where did he go?
I hardly believe it. But he went right into this hot spring under the rock.
But there's hardly opening enough for a rat.
He went under the water. Come on.
Wait, Vaughn, I'm coming with you. We plunged into the spring, wriggling our way forward, not knowing what to expect. Vaughn held the rifle high above the water, but there wasn't room enough for our heads. We had to hold our breath and plunge forward. Luckily, it was only a few feet. I emerged and took a breath. Then I heard Vaughn fire.
I got him.
Where? Shine the flashlight.
There, at the other side of the cave.
Yes. Who would have thought there would be a cave here?
Or that anyone else could have gotten through that spring.
It was a perfect hiding place.
Yes, but it does him no good now. Turn him over. Let's see who our werewolf is.
Where? What? It's Weiss. Joseph Weiss, the game warden's son.
Well, why didn't we think of that? We all knew he was not quite sane.
More than that, he almost told us. Remember, he said, I do not believe a man can turn himself into a wolf. But I know why he'd want to.
Yes, and he described the feeling to walk wild and crouch at the knees.
He knew that feeling. He knew it too well. Beside Joseph Weiss, we found a murder weapon. It was a patented animal killer, a heavy iron muzzle that gripped the scalp, a heavy spike that was released by a spring. His hiding place was even more perfect than we had supposed. When the magistrate investigated, he found a passage from that cave which led underground for more than a mile, and finally to the game warden's house where a ladder led into his cellar.
Undoubtedly, Weiss found that dry underground river one day and realized he could use it. Perhaps that is what caused his mind to snap.
Yes. It released a long pent-up spring in him, like that weapon he used. He saw that he could run in the woods like an animal, disappearing and reappearing with perfect safety. He even offered a place to bury his victims without a trace.
And so your theory proved correct. That there's a murderous, primitive instinct lurking in some people.
Yes.
Well, it's all explained excepting what he did with the body.
It would serve no useful purpose to speculate on that now.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Kira, you haven't said anything.
Why did you have to shoot him?
Kira, he was a murderer. He tried to murder Shiravyev.
Is it murder when a wolf kills? A dumb animal? Frightened of intruder?
Kira!
You understand what I mean, don't you, Shiravyev? You understood that night when you shot the handkerchief. Just as I have. It might have happened to any of us, Sissy.
Kira, What do you mean?
Take me away from here, Richard. Just take me away quickly.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight brought you Taboo by Jeffrey Household, adapted for radio by John Dunkel with Paul Frees as Sharavyev, Marta Mitrovich as Kira, and Morgan Farley as Vaughn. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Shure. Next week,
you were standing on a bridge over Owl Creek with a noose around your neck. Only a few seconds left to live. A few seconds left to plan to escape.
Next week, we escape with Ambrose Bierce's famous story, An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge. Good night, then, until the same time next week when we again offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and carefully contrived to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to the war between the states and a muddy stream in Alabama, as we recall one of the great short stories in American literature, An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge by Ambrose Bierce.
A man stood upon a railroad bridge in northern Alabama, looking down through the ties at the swift water 20 feet below. The man's hands were behind his back, the wrist bound with a cord. A rope closely encircled his neck. It was attached to a stout cross timber above his head, and the slack fell to the level of his knees. He watched a piece of dancing driftwood racing down the current beneath his feet. He thought,
if I could just free my hands, I might throw off this noose and dive into the creek. If I swam underwater, I'd be safe from their bullets. If my wind held out, I could make the southern bank, take to the woods, and get away home.
Peyton Farquhar, Alabama planter, stood at the end of a plank. A captain of the Union Army and a sergeant stood at the other end. When they stepped aside, the plank would tip upward, and Peyton Farquhar, Confederate spy, would slip between the ties to hang above the muddy water of Owl Creek until dead. Even in this far outpost of Sherman's march to the sea, the formalities of death are observed by these men who are most familiar with him. The captain's company is drawn stiffly at attention along the tracks on the northern side of the bridge. The lieutenant stands erect on the bank of the stream, the point of his bared saber scraping the gravel on the roadbed. Peyton Farquhar is being ushered into the Confederate beyond with every Union amenity. The captain stands aside. Now only the weight of the bulky sergeant counterbalances Peyton Farquhar at the end of his thin board.
They say that this is the moment when all the past events of your life tumble into your memory. But how could anyone know? Who has come back from the dead to tell what dying is like? I don't recall any childhood memories now. The past does not engulf me in this naked moment. I'm only aware of what's here, now. Those Yankees lined up on the bank. This captain's tired eyes. That turkey buzzard circling up there, waiting for me. That noise. That beating, driving sound like a distant engine. A pump. The roll of thunder on a summer evening. Coming closer. Getting louder. Choking.
His
heart, of course, that you hear, stepping up its cadence, pounding under the forced draft of fear. Now you see nothing, remember nothing, sense nothing, but the strangling, suffocating beat of your own heart, throbbing its final protest. You stand there, erect.
The work is nearly at an end now. The captain draws his sword, flourishes it to a carry, sings out a command.
Running! All right!
The men on the bank smartly spread their legs, thrust hands forward over the rifle barrels. The sergeant on the end of the plank takes one step to the left. The plank tips forward. And Peyton Farquhar drops between the timbers of Owl Creek Bridge.
It takes longer to tell it. As you drop downward, you lose consciousness. You are as one already dead. Then you awaken sharply in pain to feel, not to think, just to feel. The cutting pressure on your throat, the agonies of pulsating fire shooting from your neck downward. To feel the fullness, the congestion, the head bursting with suffocation. Distantly, beyond, outside of yourself, you hear a splash. Remotely you sense cool, wet, green darkness. The rope has broken. You have fallen into the stream. Now thinking returns slowly. You know for the moment you are safe from drowning because the rope around your neck tightly keeps the water from your lungs. Then I shall die hanging at the bottom of a river. And that's absurd. If I can get my hands free. I must get my hands free. Come, Peyton. They can't lick you. Try again. Once more. Good boy, the rope's giving. Again. Try once more. That does it, my boy. Now, the rope around your neck. You must breathe when you come to the surface. You must breathe quickly. For if they haven't hanged you and they fail to drown you, you can't let them shoot you. Loosen that rope around your neck. You must get it loose. Now. It takes so much longer to tell. You are now in the fullest possession of your senses. And again, time stops. You feel the ripples of water upon your face and hear their separate sounds as they strike. You see the trees on the bank and the leaves and the veining of each leaf and the very insects on them. The locusts, the brilliant-bodied flies, the gray spiders stretching their webs from twig to twig. The prismatic colors of the dewdrops upon a million blades of grass. You hear the humming of the gnats, the beating of the dragonfly's wings, the strokes of the water spider's legs. A fish slides beneath your eyes, and you hear the rush of its body parting the water. All this you see and hear in an incalculably infinite instant of time. Then you hear something else. You dive deeply, but above the ringing in your ears, you hear the volley of the rifle. And as you rise toward the surface, you meet shining bits of metal, singularly flattened, the distorted and spent bullets, oscillating slowly downward past you. One catches in your collar, and it feels uncomfortably warm. You snatch it out. And this gray piece of Yankee lead reminds you of the gray uniform of the soldier who was responsible for you being here. You recall that it was only night before last when the soldier had ridden up the driveway as you and your wife sat under the magnolia trees in the cool twilight.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Corporal.
Wonder if I might trouble you for a glass of water, sir.
Why, of course.
Don't disturb yourself, Peyton. I'll go fetch it.
You're most kind, ma'am. If you just indicate the well...
Nonsense. You just sit a spell with my husband. You look as if you could do with some rest.
Yes, ma'am. Reckon I could.
I'll be back in a jiffy.
Thank you, ma'am.
Whose command are you with, Corporal?
Colonel Tolliver, sir. 13th, North Carolina.
We get so little news down here. How are things going at the front?
Not good, sir. The Yankees are getting ready for another advance. They're repairing the railroad. Got it in shape almost to Owl Creek Bridge. And they got an outpost there. Once they can run the trains beyond the bridge, there's nothing to stop them between here and Atlanta.
Then why hasn't the bridge been destroyed?
The military couldn't get near it. A civilian might.
Owl Creek Bridge. That's not far from here, is it?
Less than 20 miles.
You say they have an outpost there. On which side?
The other side. Nothing on this side but a couple of pickets. Half a mile out on the railroad. And a single sentinel at this end of the bridge.
And that bridge is important?
Sure is. Well, I was there a week ago, just before we had to pull out. There's a heap of drift that come down in last winter's flood and caught on the trestle at this end. Looked mighty dry and tendery to me.
I see.
A fellow with enough gumption might get through and set fire to it. It ought to burn like tow.
Yes, it should.
Of course, a fellow'd have to have plenty of gumption. The Union commanders promised to hang any civilian caught fooling around the railroad.
Here's your water, Corporal. Right out of the spring house.
Thank you kindly, ma'am. My, that's cool and nice.
And here's a smidgen of cornbread. I thought you might be hungry.
I'm mighty grateful, ma'am. It's ladies like you that keeps the South together and fighting these days.
My, what a nice compliment.
It certainly is. Well, I reckon I better hit the leather. I got a lot of riding ahead of me tonight.
Good luck to you, Corporal, and thank you for the information.
You'd be taking a chance, sir, but you couldn't do a greater service for your country.
I remember that, Corporal.
Goodbye, ma'am.
Goodbye, Corporal.
Goodbye, sir. Many thanks.
Bye.
Peyton? What was he talking about?
What, Madam?
The Corporal. What did he mean by service to your country and taking a chance?
Oh, nothing.
Peyton, tell me.
There was nothing, really, my dear.
Peyton Farquhar, if you're fixing to take any chances for our country, I want to know about it. Now, you just seek your peace.
There's nothing to say except I'd be going away for a day or two on a little trip.
Is it dangerous, Peyton?
Not very.
Maybe back.
Yes, my dear. I promise you, I'll be back. You break the surface of Owl Creek for a second time, and now you're much further downstream, further away from the Union soldiers on the bridge reloading their guns, the ramrods flashing in the morning sun.
That captain will make the same mistake again. You'll order them to fire it well. Heaven help me, I cannot dodge another.
Another more terrible sound, cannon. They've trained a cannon on you.
And close. Next time they'll use a charge of grape. Rifles and grape covering the water from bank to bank. I'm done for, Ann.
Then something seemed to grab you, and you're whirled round and round, spinning like a waterlogged top. You're caught in a vortex, a whirlpool. The water, the banks, the distant bridge, the soldiers become indistinct blurs. And again, you're helpless. You feel dizzy and sick to your stomach. Just as you felt last night, when you crept up the bank toward the lone sentinel on the south end of the bridge and discovered that the sentinel was not alone.
There he is, boys. Grab him up. Get him, Sergeant. Well, Mr. Peyton Farquhar, we've been expecting you.
How did you know my name?
Got ways.
But look here, I'm a civilian.
Save your breath and thank your maker we didn't shoot you in the back. We don't do things that way up north. You'll get a trial. Everything fair and square. Bring him along, men.
The whirlpool spins faster and faster. A sharp piece of driftwood tears at your coat. The churning brown water chokes you. You know there is nothing you can do. As you had known it last night, when they shoved you into a tent near the bridge to face the infantry captain with the tired eyes.
There he is, sir. Right on schedule.
Good luck, Sergeant. Is this the man, Lieutenant? That's him. What? There was a corporal who stopped at my plantation last night. That's right, Mr. Farquhar, but I'm not with the 13th North Carolina Volunteers. Mr. Farquhar, this is Lieutenant Saltonstall, Intelligence Officer, 5th Massachusetts Regulars. You've trapped me. You deliberately led me into a trap. I'm a civilian and a planter. Yes, and also a Southern patriot, caught in the act of espionage. You can't prove it. We don't have to. This is the most despicable, the most... This proves once more that honor is a stranger in the North. I'm too tired to listen to a recital of the code of a Southern gentleman, Mr. Farquhar. I'm afraid the distinction between your ethics and my lack of them would escape me this evening. But why have you done this? Why have you deliberately trapped me? The best way to eliminate civilian resistance is to lure it into the open. You fell for the bait. Too bad. Now, look here. It's my constitutional right Which Constitution? Constitution of the United States or Jeff Davis's? You insulting Yankee. Remember your manners, sir. I demand the trial. You just had it. Post a guard over him, Sergeant. Yes, sir. Well, hang him in the morning. Something tears at your face, scratching, and you realize that the whirring has stopped. You open your eyes. You're lying on the southern bank of the stream, out of sight of your enemies. Safe. The gravel which has scratched your cheek now seems soft as new-picked cotton. The forest around you is a garden of luscious beauty, reeking with a heavy perfume of freedom. Even the whiz and rattle of the final charge of grapes screaming through the treetops seems a benediction from the baffled cannoneer. You leap to your feet and run into the woods, south, towards home. Your neck is swollen and throbbing with pain. You carry it cocked toward your left shoulder as you push through the matted brush. All morning you tear your way through the undergrowth. Your jacket is tattered and your face crisscrossed with bloody scratches and the brambles. Every few moments you stop. You stop to listen for the sound of dogs. But all you hear is the sleepy buzz of the forest. And the blood throbbing through your heated brain brings another thought. It is an insult. No dogs. You are not even important enough to the Yankees for dogs. It's nearly noon now, and for half an hour you've been plunging through a swamp, waist-deep in clean ooze. Your neck hurts constantly. Your head throbs and your tongue is thick. It tastes like brown cotton. Gnats swarm before your eyes, catching in your eyelids. Mosquitoes buzz in your ears, drill deep in your hands and swollen neck. You cannot go any longer. You slow down. You stop. You reach toward a palmetto root for support, and it slithers from your grasp and slides softly into the water. Water moccasin. Fear finds you at last. Terror, which stood aloof when you fled the executioner's bullets, now embraces you with clammy unction. A water moccasin. The deadly cottonmouth. Now each branch and root seems to writhe under your glance. The swamp is undulating with certain death. You plunge on through the dark, stinking ooze, on and on, tripping, stumbling, never stopping. For terror rides your back, flogging you with a whiplash of fear.
You're going to have Master Peyton fill the fiddle jig time. You just drink this your yacht tea, Master Peyton.
Thank you. Thank you. Jethro.
Yes, sir, Master Peyton.
What are you doing here?
I live here.
You live... Where am I? What happened?
I was paddling my dugout home through the swamp with a mess of catfish. I see you lying out there on the bank in front of my cabin.
Jethro, I heard... I thought you were dead. Of course you thought Jethro was dead. You knew he had consumption when you sold him. You knew he couldn't last long and he wasn't earning his keep. His wife and his daughter carried on some at first, but after a while they calmed down. And last you'd heard, Jethro was dead.
You thought I was dead, Master Peyton? Why, sir, don't you know what's happened to me? I'm free. I'm free at last.
So, news travels fast. Even in the middle of this backwoods swamp, this lonely black has heard of Abe Lincoln's traitorous Emancipation Proclamation. And they believe it with the faith of children.
Yes, sir, I'm free. I expect pretty soon my woman and my little gal come along and join me.
Yes, of course they will, Jethro.
How is they, Master Peyton? Is they well?
Yes, indeed, they're both fine. Your daughter's growing into a young beauty. Miss Fox was brought into the kitchen, beginning to train her for the house.
Well, what do you think of that? And my woman, she still sings pretty?
Yes, Jethro. Sundays at meeting time, we can hear all the way up to the big house.
That woman's voice is pretty and all the angels.
Jethro, I don't know how to say this, but I really was sorry about having to sell you. But there wasn't anything else.
I understand, Master Peyton. Don't pay no mind. I done forgive you long ago.
Yeah?
Sure. Don't the Lord tell us to forgive those who trespass against us? Don't the Lord promise us we shall be free? Don't you worry none about Master Peyton. Here now, quiet that spot. Quiet, Trigger, quiet you. Like a razorback in the flesh. No, sirree. Look, my Peyton. There's a horse coming down the road.
A horse?
Look there. Soldier. When our soldiers, corporal, look like.
Jethro, you got to hide me.
Why's I got to hide you, my Peyton?
Don't ask so many questions, you insolent...
My Peyton. You forget, I'm free now.
Well, then, as an old friend of mine, please don't ask any questions. Just hide me. Don't tell that soldier anything.
Well, sure. I reckon I can do that for an old friend, Miss Peyton. Here. You get down on this your bed. That's it. Put the covers over the side. There you are. Snug as a peek in a rabbit's ear.
Remember, don't tell him anything.
Have you come this far just to be turned in by a wool-gathering black who talks crazy? If Jethro knew this great man corporal was really a Union lieutenant, he'd guarantee his freedom by turning you in. Even so, he bears you a big enough grudge to turn you in anyway. Unless, of course, he's planning to dispose of you himself. Yes, that's it. That's why he talks so silly about the Lord and forgiveness. He's going to do you himself.
Well, if you run into him, don't tell him I was looking for him.
Yes, sir. I'll remember not telling.
Just keep minding your own business, Uncle. You live longer. Yep.
Yes, sir. I sure will. Come on, Miss Peyton. I declare, I don't understand none of this. You says not tell him you're here. He says not tell you he's been here. What's this all about, Miss Peyton?
Oh, it's nothing, Jethro. Nothing. I owe the man some money. I'm not ready to pay it.
Oh, I see. I wouldn't know about that. Money something never bothered me like it bothers some. Money and me's always been strangers.
What's he mean by that? Money's never bothered me like it's bothered some. What's he picking up that knife for?
Jethro, what are you going to do with that knife?
Oh, I'm just fixing to slit up some of them catfish you got in the dugout. Looks like you could do with a little food, Miss Peyton.
Oh, no, thank you, Jethro. I really got to be on my way. I want to get home by sundown if I can.
Sure wouldn't be no bother to cut up a couple cash.
No, thank you, old friend. If you'll just tell me which way I should go to get home.
Well, I don't rightly know, Miss Peyton. I reckon from the way the sun's reclining, be down the road that way. Quite a tolerable piece.
Yeah, that should be about right.
I've never been back, you know. I never tried to go back since I've been free.
Yes, I know.
But I reckon it won't be long till my woman, my little gal, comes here to me.
Of course.
If you get back, Miss Peyton, if you see, you tell him I'm here waiting for him here.
Yeah, I'll do that, Jethro. I'll do that.
You get away from there fast, the shells of the road crunching under your muddy boots. That grinning savage standing in the doorway of the shack, the knife in his hands. And each moment until the road bends and cuts off the cabin from view, you feel he'll come after you, the knife poised to plunge in your back, to pay you for the thrust you gave him when you sent him away to die. He's still standing, grinning foolishly and waving to turn the bend. Now you feel safe, but only for a moment. Then you hear a sound. The sound of a horse. It must be the corporal in gray from the 5th Massachusetts Regulars. He's coming back down the road, searching for you, hounding you, coming to take you back to Owl Creek Bridge, back to a rope that won't break under your weight. You walk faster and faster, and always the sound is there, growing louder and louder, and you run as fast as you can down the shell road, which stretches clear to the horizon between the green walls of scrubby pine. How long have you been running down this endless road? It's dark now. Is it night? Or has the blood trapped in your head by the suffocating rope at last burst into your congested eyeballs and blinded you? Will it next pour from your swollen and bruised neck into your brain, stopping all sensation, instantly bringing to a welcome end this day of agony and flight? Ridiculous fantasies of fatigue and fear. You can see the darkness is the black of a sudden summer storm. That lightning flash clearly shows the white road ahead and the black silhouettes of trees along the sides. And since you're sure that you can see, the other senses return. You hear the rumble of the thunder. You feel the insupportable ache of your straining lungs, the leaden weight of your tired feet. And now the patter of rain, first washing the stinging sweat from your scratched and bitten face, now pounding harder, flowing down across your hatless head, matting your hair, slowing your headlong gait to a dog trot. Another flash of lightning directly overhead. For an instant, you see the soldiers of Owl Creek Bridge standing at the side of the road, rifles leveled, their eyes boring down the sight, aiming at your heart. Again, you're running, and the rain has turned to hail. Pellets as big as hominy beat down on you, pound your swollen, bruised neck, hammer at your countless cuts. Again, the lightning. And on the other side of the road, the gray-clad corporal sits astride his horse waiting for you.
No! No, you can't get me now! No!
This bolt of lightning strikes a tree ahead of you, and in the white blinding light stands Jethro, black and grinning, knife raised in the air.
No! No, Jethro! Forgive me! Forgive me!
He's gone. And now you see dangling from each tree along the road a noose, swinging in the wind. Wherever you turn, wherever you look, a noose waiting for you. A noose which wriggles like a water moccasin. You are standing on the green lawn of your plantation before the high-columned entrance. The storm is over. The clouds are black and menacing all around the horizon. But through a break in the sky overhead, glorious sunlight streams down, bathing your garden and your house in heavenly light. You are home. And now you hear a rustle of crinoline, and down from the wide portico steps your beloved wife. She walks across the wide lawn, arms outstretched.
Peyton, my dear, you're back. Just as you promised you'd be.
For this moment, you have endured the agonies of this day. And were those agonies multiplied 1,000 times, they would be small price for the benison of this breast, the sanctuary of these arms, the security of these lips. You step forward to fold your wife in your embrace.
The rope stretched tight, sang like a bowstring. Peyton Farquhar was dead. His body, with a broken neck, swung gently from side to side beneath the timbers of Owl Creek Bridge.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robson, and tonight brought you An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge by Ambrose Bierce in a radio adaptation written by Mr. Robson. The part of Peyton Farquhar was played by Harry Bartell. The narrators were Bill Conrad and Bill Johnstone. Jethro was played by Louis Van Rooten. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Pure. Next week,
you are trapped in the pitch darkness of a ruined mansion. And groping for you, stalking you, is a homicidal maniac armed with a knife, from whom you must escape.
Next week, we escape with Joseph Hergesheimer's gripping story, Wild Oranges. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when we again offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The Free City program was recorded earlier and came to you from Columbia Square. This is KNX, Los Angeles. We pause now for fun identification.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.